Chapter 356. Cure the disease. Ouyang Yun could not do either of the two solutions. He was able to survive in the North region because of his alchemy skills. Giving up on this path was equivalent to dying. Moreover, it could only treat the symptoms and not the root cause. The other solution was even more useless. Once he died, everything would disappear. Can I still live after taking this pill? Ouyang Yun smiled bitterly as he looked at the pill bottle on the ground. He had been thinking of ways to cure this disease in the past. His focus had always been on how to not touch pills, but it had never worked. But now Long Chen had told him that the first path was death. This was the path he should choose. You can live. Long Chen's voice was faint. His seemingly casual words caused the flame in Ouyang Yun's heart to ignite. Ever since he got this disease, he looked fine, but in fact he suffered unimaginable torture every day. If there was a chance to cure this disease, even if it was 1 in 100, he would still try. Ouyang Yun looked at the pill bottle in front of him. His eyes suddenly revealed a fierce look as he shouted, "I've been with pills my whole life. If I give up alchemy, I'd rather die. Today, I'll believe you. If I die today, it has nothing to do with the two of you." As soon as he finished speaking, Ouyang Yun picked up the pill bottle and took out a dark green pill surrounded by black gas. The pungent smell made the surrounding people's faces change again and again. "You can't. You'll definitely die if you take this pill. Alchemist Ouyang, don't be bewitched by this person. He's simply courting death. This is clearly a poisonous pill. How can it save people?" However, no matter how the crowd shouted, Ouyang Yun was indifferent. Although he did not believe Long Chen's words about the 3 signs of decay, the solution was indeed almost the same as what a god-level alchemist said. If this pill was the only way to cure his disease, he was willing to give it a try. Gulp. Ouyang Yun ignored the crowd's advice and swallowed the pill. The surrounding people's faces changed. They did not expect Ouyang Yun to actually listen to Long Chen. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Ouyang Yun spat out a mouthful of blood. The flesh on his body turned purple-black at a speed visible to the naked eye. A foul smell assaulted their nostrils. His flesh rotted and turned into blood clots that fell to the ground. The pitter-patter sounds made people's scalps go numb and their hair stand on end. In the short span of 2 breaths, Ouyang Yun's entire body turned into a pool of purplish-black blood. Ouyang Yun's divine soul left the body and looked at the body that had already turned into a pool of blood. He sighed and said, "I once tried to leave my soul, but even if I went to another body, the same thing would happen again." Long Chen shook his head and pointed at the puddle of blood on the ground. His sternum was faintly visible. A human sovereign realm expert's physical body was almost immortal. With a piece of breastbone, as long as his divine soul returned to its original position, he could still reform his physical body. Wait for the blood, water, and black gas to disperse. Then you can use your spirit to form a body with a piece of bone as the foundation, Long Chen said calmly. In truth, the poison pill's effect was minuscule. The only thing that could save this person was the power of laws within it. This rule force was also something Long Chen had done on purpose. The alchemy path's 3rd decay should not have appeared on Ouyang Yun's body. Hence, the effect was only 1/100th. As long as his body was completely dead, and when he was refining pills, he would be able to contain the powerful rule force in a unique pattern. Then, he would be able to protect his body and avoid the first decay. This method sounded simple, but in reality, even a god-level alchemist would not be able to do it in this vast wilderness. Only Long Chen, who had obtained the alchemy path's inheritance, could do it. This was because everyone had to go through the alchemy path's 3rd decay in ancient times. He naturally knew about it clearly from the flame of inheritance. Therefore, he was able to perfectly integrate the power of the rule force into the pill. It even appeared at the right time to protect the last piece of bone that was recovering his physical body. As long as there was a slight mistake, not only would Ouyang Yun's physical body completely disappear and be unable to reform, but he would also go through the alchemy path's 3rd decay, even if he changed his physical body. Ouyang Yun looked at that piece of bone. His divine soul dispersed. and his eyes were filled with gratitude. He bowed deeply to Long Chun. He knew that regardless of whether he succeeded or not, he would not be able to repay Long Chun's kindness. The surrounding people looked at Ouyang Yun without saying a word. At this moment, they only wanted to see if Ouyang Yun's illness could really be cured. If it was true, then Long Chun would undoubtedly be a god-level alchemist. Time flew until the next morning. No one left the square. Instead, the group of black-armored soldiers from the Juin ancient people came again. However, this time, the leader was a young man in a black robe with white edges. The young man was only around 30 years old. He stood on the spot, but there was an invisible aura around him that made the surrounding people not dare to approach. He frowned and said gloomily, "Yesterday, this person discovered that Sun Li used the black bloodstone in his pill cauldron and said that my life was in danger. Zhu Kang's third young master, it's this person. Moreover, this person seems to be calling himself a pill venerable. This time, Ouyang Yun seems to be doubting whether he's really a god-level alchemist. Zhu Kang." When the surrounding people heard the young man's name, they all looked respectful. The Juin ancient people were considered the best among the many three-star ancient clans in the area. This Zhu Kang was the third Taoist in their clan. Zhu Kang nodded and walked forward to stare at Long Chun and Ouyang Yun. He said, "Yesterday, you said that I don't have long to live. Then follow me to the Juin ancient people." Zhu Kang's words were not polite, and there was even a hint of coercion. As he spoke, he even ordered the people behind him to forcefully take Long Chun away. In his opinion, it was impossible for Long Chun to be a god-level alchemist. He could easily control such an old man. Crack, crack, crack. Before Long Chun could reply, the purplish-black blood on the ground had completely dissipated, leaving behind only a piece of white bone. Ouyang Yun's soul immediately fell. With his chest as the center, his flesh and blood slowly regenerated. After dozens of breaths, Ouyang Yun's physical body was reconstructed, and there were no abnormalities on his chest. It's true, he really did it. Ouyang Yun once said that even the Alchemist Guild headquarters could not cure this illness, but he actually did it. God-level alchemist. This person is really a pill venerable. I never thought that I would be lucky enough to meet a pill venerable in this life, when I couldn't enter the Alchemist Guild headquarters. The people around them cried out in surprise. Everyone looked at Long Chun with respect that they had never seen before. The alchemists bowed in unison, kowtowing 9 times in a row. The scene was spectacular. The Juin ancient people's third Taoist, Zhu Kang's expression changed. Cold sweat dripped down his body, and he knelt on the ground with a plop. He quickly said, "I offended you just now. Please don't blame me, pill venerable, and save my life." Ouyang Yun shook his head when he saw this scene. Offending a god-level alchemist was definitely not a good thing. Even though Long Chun could not refine pills, who knew how many people had been indebted to him when he was young? Killing a 3-star ancient clan's Taoist was easier than killing an ant. Chapter 357. 9 tribe again. The people performing the 9 bows looked at the 9 giant corpse tribe's Tao disciple who was kneeling on the ground. This person had just planned to take Long Chun away, but now he was kneeling on the ground on the other side. Long Chun acted as if he didn't see him at all. He turned to Ouyang Yun and said, "You and I are fated. The 3 blights of alchemy have been shackled for so long. Although it is a disaster, it is also good fortune. All things in the world depend on each other, and karma is a cycle. Now that you have entered seclusion to refine pills, you could try refining emperor-grade pills. You should have a 70% chance of becoming an emperor-grade alchemist. A 70% chance of becoming an emperor-grade alchemist." Everyone's faces flushed red. Yesterday, Long Chun's jade slip allowed Kong San to rise by 2 grades. Today, he even solved Ouyang Yun's strange illness and became an emperor-grade alchemist. Ouyang Yun seemed to be in a good mood when he heard this and said, "If you want to become an emperor-grade alchemist with this method, why don't you ask the venerable pill?" The people around waved their hands and felt their scalps go numb when they thought of the scene on Ouyang Yun's chest. Thinking about it, It was reasonable for him to become an emperor-grade alchemist. As Ouyang Yun spoke, he waved his hand, and a blue iron talisman appeared. The sword patterns carved on it seemed to be very ancient. I was lucky enough to find this in the center of the desolate region when I was in the divine corpse realm. It contains an extremely strange sword. The venerable pill definitely doesn't care about something as mundane as a sword move, but your follower is a sword cultivator, so I'll give this to him. Ouyang Yun was clever and knew that Long Chun definitely didn't need anything from him, so he directly gave this item to Jian Shi-san. Jian Shi-san didn't reach out his hand and looked at Long Chun instead. Seeing Long Chun nod slightly, he accepted the item. "All right, quickly go back and enter seclusion." Long Chun waved his hand and said. Ouyang Yun bowed again before turning around and leaving, obviously looking forward to it. However, at this moment, 9 giant corpse tribes, Zhu Kang's face was ashen because he was still kneeling on the ground. Long Chen's divine sense flew out and covered the person's entire body. After a moment of silence, he spoke indifferently to this person. "You've already consumed the medicinal pills refined by Sun Li for 2 years. You've already taken half a step into the gates of hell, so you might not be unaware." Zhu Kang's body trembled uncontrollably as he hurriedly said, "Pill Venerate, save me. Pill Venerate, save me. A year ago, I discovered that all my blood had turned black. Now that I think about it, I know that a disaster is imminent." Zhu Kang felt bitter in his heart. This was not because he was careless. There were many disciples of the 9 giant corpse tribe whose bloodline had mutated, and quite a few of them had turned black. How could he have known that it was caused by the consumption of the return to Yin pill? Long Chun looked at Zhu Kang, who was still kneeling on the ground. A playful smile flashed across the corners of his mouth as he spoke indifferently. "I've come here to find a disciple. Your clan's younger generation seems to be holding an engagement banquet today. This old man wants to take a look. Is that okay?" Zhu Kang nodded repeatedly. At this moment, his life was in Long Chen's hands. How could he refuse? Moreover, this was a god-level alchemist. At this moment, Long Chun did not seem to have any cultivation. However, even if he could not refine pills, a god-level alchemist's knowledge and understanding of alchemy was definitely enough for a 3-star ancient clan to rope him in. Seeing that Zhu Kang and Long Chun were about to leave, everyone had a look of disappointment. 2 of them even mustered up their courage and called out, "Pill Venerate, there's still some time before the Juin ancient people's engagement banquet. Can you give us some pointers?" Long Chen's footsteps paused slightly. Seeing that the 2 of them were also from the Alchemist Guild who had followed Ouyang Yun, he nodded slightly. Then, he said, "Then the 2 of you can open your cauldrons and refine pills. It's best if you can refine the highest grade pills you can currently master." The 2 of them were overjoyed. They had not expected that Long Chun would actually stop. They quickly took out their cauldrons and started refining pills on the spot. Many of the alchemists in the surroundings had looks of envy and jealousy on their faces. However, many of them recalled how they had mocked Long Chun earlier and did not dare to say anything. Moreover, there was not much time left. The 2 of them were refining pills at the same time. The entire square had already surrounded Long Chun and the others in layers. After 2 hours, the 2 of them finished refining pills. They were all 5th grade king level pills. Long Chun looked at the 2 of them and said, "The 2 of you have entered the human king stage and comprehended the laws of Earth. However, your method of refining pills and the properties of the pills are incompatible. The 2 of you should try your best to refine pills with gentler properties. Don't use earth fire as your main alchemy fire. Use wood fire. The Tao of the 5 elements is the foundation of refining pills. The higher your alchemy cultivation, the more you should pay attention to it. However, you are refining pills in the exact opposite way, Sai." That was all he had to say. Long Chun turned around and walked out of the city. Zhu Kang led a group of black-armored soldiers and followed closely behind him. Seeing that there were still people who wanted to come forward and ask questions, his expression immediately became gloomy. The surrounding people immediately left resentfully. Zhu Kang respectfully led Long Chun and Jian Shi back to the 9 giant corpse tribe. At this moment, the nine giant corpse tribe was extraordinarily lively. Divine light spilled over the mountains of the tribe like bridges. There were also rainbow-colored birds chirping incessantly. The engagement banquet was a grand occasion for the Join ancient people. Many ancient clans would come, but the power of their bloodlines had to be approved by the Join ancient people. Only then could their bloodlines be guaranteed. In fact, in order to ensure the purity of their bloodlines, many Join ancient people married within the same clan. Once the engagement was decided during the engagement banquet, the wedding would be held a month later. Long Chen and Jian Shusan followed Zhu Kong along the mountain path and walked toward the highest mountain peak in the center. The mountain peak was crowded with people. There were handsome men and beautiful women everywhere. Most of them were at the late-stage Dao integration stage or early-stage Human King stage. One could see the foundation of the Join ancient people just by looking at them. Long Chen's eyes were immediately attracted by a woman standing at the center of the mountain peak. This person was Qing Xian. Just as Long Chen's eyes were fixed on her, a fierce shout came from behind him. "Zhu Kong, what are you doing? Why did you bring an outsider into today's banquet? Old man, if you look at Qing Xian again, I will take your eyes." The person who spoke was fierce, but his tone was inexplicably arrogant. As soon as he finished speaking, he actually raised his sword and slashed toward Long Chun Bang. Long Chun stood in place and didn't even turn his head. Jian Shusan's broken sword had already moved forward to meet the attack. Jian Shusan groaned and couldn't help but take a few steps back. Long Chen's right hand moved slightly and blocked Jian Shusan's attack without leaving a trace. Is this the way the nine giant corpse tribe treats their guests? This old man has seen it today. Long Chen sneered. Zhu Kang's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly stopped the person who attacked. "Inzhong, don't be rash. Do you know who this senior is?" Zhu Kang hurriedly said. Long Chen heard this and slowly turned his head. When he saw Zhu Inzhong, he couldn't help but sneer in his heart. This person was still as arrogant as when they first met, but his cultivation was much higher than before. However, Long Chun could see clearly with his divine perception. The half-moon brand in his dantian had already taken root in his entire dantian and was even connected to his divine soul. Chapter 358. How we met before? Long Chun used his sovereign's divine sense to seal his aura, so Zhu Yinzhong was unable to detect him. Zhu Yinzhong stared at Long Chun and said to Zhu Kong, "He is just an ordinary old man. Even if he has some status, I will dig out his eyes for staring at Qing Xian like this." Long Chen snorted and said, "Little friend, aren't you afraid of biting your tongue?" As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Yinzhong was filled with killing intent. He held his long sword and was about to take Long Chen's head. Jian Shusan had yet to attack when Zhu Kong took the initiative to block the attack. At the same time, he shouted, "He is a god-level alchemist." "Ka!" Zhu Kang's voice caused Zhu Yinzhong's attack to stop as he stared at Long Chun in shock. He said with a gloomy expression, "Are you joking? This person has no spiritual energy at all. How can he be a god-level alchemist?" Zhu Kang's voice was naturally heard by the surrounding people, and they all looked over. Everyone's faces were filled with suspicion. What did Zhu Kang say? This person is a god-level alchemist? How is that possible? Could he have been tricked by someone else? Almost all the god-level alchemists are in the Alchemist Guild. Why would he appear here? This person has no cultivation at all. Not to mention a god-level alchemist. It is already not bad for him to be able to heat up the cauldron. Zhu Kang saw everyone's reaction and hurriedly bowed to Long Chun to apologize. His expression was extremely ugly. He then turned around and told everyone what had happened at the Nanyang City Alchemy Gathering. The more the surrounding people heard, the more incredulous they felt. They looked at each other. Zhu Yinzhong was the first to speak. "How do you know that alchemy gatherings Ouyangyan didn't collude with this person? How can he cure an illness that even a god-level alchemist can't?" Just as everyone was talking, Qing Xian slowly walked over and stood in front of everyone. Her eyes actually landed on Long Chun at the first possible moment. She didn't seem to care about the god-level alchemist at all. She only stared at Long Chun and asked doubtfully, "Old mister, have we met before? Have you and I ever met?" Ching Xuan's words caused the surrounding people to be stunned. At this moment, Long Chun had disguised himself so well that even Jian Shisan might not be able to see through his disguise. However, Qing Xian seemed to have sensed something with just a glance. Long Chen's heart was filled with countless thoughts, but he couldn't say anything. He knew that he couldn't reunite with Qing Xian if he didn't deal with the threat of the moonseed first. Using his divine thoughts, he could clearly see that Qing Xian's face was haggard. Her eyes seemed to be empty, which made his heart ache. And within her dantian, the crescent moon had been planted deep within her soul. If it wasn't for Qing Xian's powerful bloodline that allowed him to resist for a short period of time, his life would have been taken away with just a thought from the person who cast the spell. Long Chen took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, 13, leave. This clan is full of unreasonable people. There's no need to stay any longer. After saying that, he no longer looked at Qing Xian and turned around to leave with Jian Shisan. He was afraid that if he looked at Qing Xian again, she would find out and he wouldn't be able to stop himself from holding her in his arms. Seeing that Long Chun was about to leave, Zhu Yinzhong and Zhu Kong jumped out at the same time and blocked Long Chen's path. At the same time, an old man strode out from the crowd and stopped in front of the three of them. I am Juin Ancient People's guest, Zimu, a second-grade Emperor Stage Alchemist. I can test this person for you, two young masters. The old man was beaming with joy. He was obviously very proud of his title as a second-grade Emperor Stage Alchemist. Zhu Yinzhong saw that this person had just arrived and immediately sneered. Since Alchemist Zimu has come out of seclusion, this matter is simple. Can you see if this person is an Emperor Stage Alchemist? Zimu's eyes stared at Long Chun as if there was a divine light shining in them. After a while, he said, I have never seen this person before. Even if he is a God Stage Alchemist, I'm afraid he is not from the Waste region. Moreover, this person has no cultivation at all. Even if he is a God Stage Alchemist, I'm afraid he only has outstanding knowledge. The surrounding people nodded. Although a God Stage Alchemist had a high status, and even if he couldn't refine pills, his knowledge and prestige were enough for the various clans to treat him well. However, it was precisely because of this that everyone was very suspicious of him. Zhu Yinzhong heard this and said, Since you say that you are a God Stage Alchemist, please prove it to me. Everyone's gaze fell on Long Chun in an instant, wanting to see how he would explain. No one had seen the incident of Ouyang Yun in Nanyang City that Zhu Kong had mentioned with their own eyes, so they didn't believe him at all. However, just as everyone thought that Long Chun was going to explain, they felt an invisible energy shoot up into the sky between heaven and earth. A wave of pressure that came from the soul spread out in all directions. Boom! Whether it was Zhu Yinzhong, the Emperor Stage Alchemist, or the many young disciples of the Joint Ancient People, they all felt their souls tremble and their hearts palpitated inexplicably. This was a wave of trembling that came from the soul. The surrounding people turned pale with fright, and they retreated in shock. Although this pressure that came from the soul of the divine consciousness was not dangerous at all, it still made them extremely terrified. Then he asked Long Chun in a loud voice, I am the alchemy venerable. Even if I have no cultivation, you can still insult me. If you continue to be disrespectful, blood will flow like a river. As Long Chen's voice fell, his right hand suddenly moved, and a bloody word slowly appeared in the air. Bloody kill order. Seeing this word slowly appear, Zhu Yinzhong and Zhu Kong trembled all over. They hurriedly shouted, Senior, please calm down. Senior, please calm down. Wait. Just as the two of them finished speaking, one after another, late-stage human king elders flew out rapidly. Among them, the fourth elder, who was acquainted with Long Chun, was also among them. The 7 or 8 elders were all late-stage human kings. Their bodies were surrounded by the power of laws, and their combat strength was far from what their peers could compare to. When they saw that the bloody word under Long Chen's hand did not disperse, their faces changed in shock. The leader of the group hurriedly walked out with a solemn expression. He said, "Senior, please calm down. Once this bloody kill order is released, there is no turning back. These two juniors have angered Senior. Senior, please calm down. Why aren't you kneeling and apologizing to Senior?" The elders repeatedly shouted. Zhu Yinzhong and Zhu Kong knelt on the ground with a plop. Their faces were full of helplessness and bitter smiles. As Taoists of the Juin ancient people, how could they not know how terrifying this bloody kill order was? In the Waste Domain, other than the four great one-star clans, the Alchemist Guild was the most powerful force. However, the Dark Star organization was the one that could not be provoked the most. Once this bloody kill order was released, it would not stop until one of them was dead. All the Dark Star organizations within a radius of 100,000 miles were mobilized, and their target was the Juin ancient people. Once things developed to such a stage, even the Juin ancient people would face an unprecedented disaster. The bloody kill order was extremely rare. For Long Chun to have this order, if he was not a member of the Dark Star organization, it meant that he had an extremely high status, or he was inextricably linked to the Dark Star organization. Long Chun stared at Zhu Yinzhong and Zhu Kong, who were kneeling on the ground, and said coldly, "Although I have lost my cultivation, I am still a god-level alchemist. You can still judge me as you wish. Today, I originally wanted to choose a successor disciple from your clan. Now, it seems that the Juin ancient people are nothing more than this." Chapter 359. Stirring the storm, Zhu Kong watched as Long Chun left. He knelt on the ground and glared at Zhu Jiuyin. He could not help but say, "If you hadn't acted rashly, our clan might have had another god-level alchemist." Although this person can no longer refine pills and has no cultivation, the divine consciousness that he just obtained is probably not something an ordinary human emperor can have. It's enough to prove that what he said is true. The elders nodded in agreement. The great elder, who was the leader of the group, said, "This old man shouldn't have gone far. Quickly investigate Ouyang Yun for me. I want to know if what he said is true or false." If this old man is really a god-level alchemist, his influence and knowledge are enough to attract the three-star ancient clans. As everyone was discussing, Qing Xian was watching from afar. Her gaze was fixed on Long Chen's back. No matter how hunched his back was or how old Long Chen's appearance was, she still felt a sense of familiarity. After leaving the Juin ancient people, Long Chen's eyes suddenly sharpened. He clenched his fists tightly, and killing intent surged in his heart. This killing intent was not only directed at the Juin ancient people, but also at the Bright Moon ancient clan's path chosen. This person had left the moon seed in Qing Xian's dantian. He had obviously touched Long Chen's bottom line. "Master, is that woman the person you're looking for? She actually sensed you when you transformed into this, but he's getting engaged today. Are we really going to sit back and do nothing?" Jin Shursan asked in a low voice. Long Chun heaved a sigh of relief. The aura around him disappeared, and he regained his composure. He said, "Now is not the time. He's getting engaged today, but the wedding is a month later. In this month, I have to find a way to get rid of the moon seed." As Long Chun spoke, he led Jin Shursan straight toward Nanyang City. In Nanyang City, a piece of news spread quickly. The news that a god-level alchemist was staying in Nanyang City's Red Sun restaurant spread like wildfire. Many alchemists who were originally participating in the pill assembly in the city heard the news and came over. In less than 2 hours, the Red Sun restaurant, which was the largest restaurant in the entire Nanyang City, was already packed with people. The divine-level alchemist is back. The divine-level alchemist is in the Red Sun restaurant. Under his guidance, not only did Ouyang Yun's illness recede, but he also became an Emperor Stage alchemist after a few hours of seclusion. The 7th grade king ranked Kong San was a loose cultivator, but because he gave up his position, he gained the favor of the venerated alchemist. A jade slip allowed him to rise by 2 grades. And the 2 apprentices of the Alchemist Guild that Venerable Alchemy gave guidance to before he left, both of them had a breakthrough. What are you waiting for? It said that the first few alchemists who went to the Red Sun restaurant have already made breakthroughs. Countless shouts rose and fell, and the entire Nanyang city was in full swing. In a short while, the news of a god-level alchemist appearing in Nanyang city spread like wildfire. With the Joyin ancient people as the center, the ancient clans within a 13-star radius sent out their Taoists and elders to investigate. There was a long queue at the entrance of the Red Sun restaurant. Looking through the door, it was very spacious and there were only 12 people inside. 10 of them stood respectfully on both sides, not even daring to straighten their backs. Long Chun and Jian Shi-san were sitting upright in front of them. The 10 of you are not the talented apprentices I'm looking for, but the guidance I gave you today can be considered as an opportunity. Long Chun waved his hand, indicating for the 10 of them to leave. The 10 of them were unusually excited, and they bowed 9 times in a row. Then, the 10 of them bowed and left. After they left, the crowd naturally made a path for them. When they saw the 10 of them, they couldn't help but widen their eyes. The 10 of them were all king stage alchemists. 3 of them were not loose cultivators, but apprentices of the Alchemist Guild. After the 10 of them walked out, they were all excited, seeing the doubts in the eyes of the people around them. 2 of them couldn't help but feel indignant. They couldn't help but shout, "The venerated alchemist's name is Tsang. You can all call him Tsang Supreme. His alchemy Tao is something we have never seen before." Today, after hearing his words, within 3 days, the quality of the pills can definitely be improved by 40%. The words of the 2 caused the surrounding people to exclaim in surprise. Before the 10 of them could leave, they were drowned in the crowd in an instant. Everyone's eyes were red, and they were about to rush into the door. Crash! With a loud bang, the door of the Red Sun restaurant hall was directly crushed by the crowd and fell inwards. Humph! Smoke and dust splashed, and Long Chun snorted softly. The originally chaotic crowd outside the door suddenly quieted down, and the few people at the front quickly knelt down, their faces full of fear. Long Chun didn't speak, but nodded slightly to Jian Shi-san. Jian Shi-san immediately understood, and a smile appeared on his face as he walked to the door and said, "Although my master can guide you, if so many of you come one by one, won't you be exhausted to death? Nothing can be accomplished without rules. If anyone wants to enter this door, from today onwards, there are 2 conditions, and you only need to meet one of them. First, hand in 100,000 top-grade spirit stones. Second, take out 10 different pills that you have personally refined, regardless of grade, and put them in front of the door. If my master thinks the pills are good, he will personally guide you. If he doesn't like them, they will be returned to you." Jian Shi-san's words stunned everyone for a moment, and they immediately whispered to each other. 100,000 top-grade spirit stones. This was what an ordinary Tao disciple needed for a year. Ordinary people couldn't afford it all. I, Lu Qing, am willing to use 100,000 top-grade spirit stones to ask for guidance from Master Tsang. Master Tsang, this is a good move. I think Master Tsang doesn't care about 100,000 top-grade spirit stones, but it can also block most of the people who want to fish in troubled waters. If you can't even afford 100,000 top-grade spirit stones, you can take out your own pills. If you can't afford both, those who want to fish in troubled waters should leave quickly. 100,000 top-grade spirit stones, such a huge amount, but no one felt that there was anything wrong with it. In their hearts, Long Chun naturally didn't care about the top-grade spirit stones. He just used it to set up a restriction. 5 or 6 alchemists were very rich. They directly took out 100,000 top-grade spirit stones and handed it to Jian Shi-san, and then walked into the door. Jian Shi-san slowly walked out and said lightly, "Master only sees 30 people a day. Today, there are still 4 people left." As Jian Shi-san's voice fell, 4 old men in their 60s came up and put dozens of pills in front of the door. Then the 4 of them looked at each other, and then looked at Long Chun with anticipation. Seeing that the quota of 10 people was full, Long Chun's divine thoughts poured out and instantly fell on his junior sister's 2nd-grade spirit class pills. Then he immediately shook his head. These pills didn't contain the 3 spiritual herbs he needed. Your pills are rich and natural. There's no big mistake, but you're not the person I'm looking for. Take the pills and leave. Long Chun said lightly. Chapter 360. Blackmail. The expressions of the three people who were with him changed. They hurriedly pulled him back and signaled him to leave. One of them hurriedly bowed to Long Chun and said, "My big brother has always been straightforward. Please don't blame him. The four of us became monarch-grade alchemists at the same time. We've been monarch-grade alchemists for 10 years now. How can there be no problem with our alchemy? If this person was a god-grade alchemist, how could he not see anything? He dismissed us as if there was no big mistake. I see that he has no cultivation at all. I'm afraid." The old man couldn't help but say as he flung the arm of the person behind him. The other three monarch-grade alchemists behind him broke out in cold sweat when they saw this. Long Chun saw that this old man's persistence was similar to Jian Shisan's despite his age. He waved his hand and signaled for the three to not stop this old man. Then he pondered for a moment and said, "Although there is no big mistake, there are small mistakes. If you want to improve your alchemy cultivation, it's easy, but it's also difficult." The four people saw that Long Chun wasn't angry, and their expressions improved. They were even happier when they heard this and stared at Long Chun. Long Chun said indifferently, "Destroy your cultivation and cultivate again. If you can return to your current cultivation in 10 years, you can easily become monarch-grade alchemists." When Long Chun's words fell, the surrounding people looked at each other with stunned faces. The four of them were monarch-grade fourth-layer cultivators, and they were monarch-grade alchemists. Now, Long Chun's solution was to let them cultivate again. No one would be able to accept such a statement. The four old men were also stunned. The calmer old man cupped his fists and said, "Please enlighten us, Lord Song. The medicinal pills are rich and natural. There is no big mistake. This is your most serious problem. Look carefully at your medicinal pills. Alchemists need to think carefully." Long Chun waved his hand and signaled for the four to leave. He didn't want to say more. Long Chun's divine sense scanned the medicinal pills of the four people. There were a total of 40 monarch-grade medicinal pills. They were refined by the four of them, but there was almost no difference. Although they were not the same type of pill, even the temperature and medicinal properties were similar, as if they were carved from the same mold. These four people were too inflexible. They could achieve something, but in the end, they would be shackled. If they were to recultivate, based on their age, it would be a miracle if one of the four of them could survive. That was why Long Chun was unwilling to give them too much advice. The four of them seemed to have finally understood Long Chun's intention, and they cupped their fists one after another. The stubborn old man, who seemed to be the leader of the group, was stunned for a long time. He seemed to be thinking about something. After a while, he looked at Long Chun and his eyes changed color. He bowed deeply 9 times and then left with the 3 people behind him. In addition, when the people who had paid the spirit stones saw that the 4 Emperor Stage alchemists had left, they couldn't wait any longer. Long Chun looked at the 6 of them and nodded slightly, indicating for them to refine the pills on the spot. However, in the end, he still didn't gain anything. There was no aura of the 3 spirit herbs he needed. After giving some advice, Long Chun and Jian Shisan returned to the room on the 2nd floor of the Red Sun restaurant to cultivate. Jian Shisan looked down from upstairs at the crowd that was like a school of carps crossing a river and asked, "Master only sees 30 people a day. When will you be able to encounter those 3 kinds of spirit medicines? Why not see a few more people? Or let them all use medicinal pills or spirit herbs as a starting point?" Long Chun shook his head slightly and said, "My understanding of alchemy can't be compared to even a divine-level alchemist. But in fact, if I don't use external forces, I can only refine Emperor Stage medicinal pills. If I see too many people, it's inevitable that I'll be exposed. If I do this, I'll give everyone 10 medicinal pills a month. If I still don't gain anything, then these 3 spirit herbs don't exist here at all. At that time, I can only prepare for the worst." The sun rose and set. Although the 2 of them were resting, more and more people gathered outside the door. Many people were unwilling to leave the front row and even began to gather spirit stones through sound-transmitting talismans. However, there were still very few people who could gather 100,000 spirit stones. Many people who came later brought their own medicinal pills. After all, Long Chun didn't have any requirement for the grade of medicinal pills. However, even so, there were 10 people a day. For 10 days, Long Chun didn't find any trace of the spirit herbs he needed from anyone. On the 11th day, the crowd outside the door actually took the initiative to open a path from the outside to the inside for the first time. The 4 Taoists of the Juin ancient people actually came together. Among them, Zhu Yinzhong and Zhu Kong were also among them. The person standing in front of the 4 was actually an old human emperor. The old man had white hair and a youthful face, but his hair was silver gray. Wherever the old man passed, the crowd seemed to be naturally pushed to the sides. Those who resisted the slightest bit were crushed, even if they were in the late stage of the human emperor stage. Long Chen's expression was indifferent, but Jian Shisan couldn't help but tense up. This person's combat power was not comparable to the half-step human emperor of the Green Vine clan in the northern region. It was like the difference between heaven and earth. This person walked to the door, but didn't step through it. He only looked deeply at Long Chun and said in a deep voice, "A few days ago, my clan neglected Lord Song. Today, I brought my clan's Taoist to personally apologize. Please save my son, Zhu Kong." When the people around saw this scene, they couldn't help but sigh. This was a human emperor powerhouse. Now, he also had a favor to ask of Long Chun. Perhaps after today, no one would doubt him. As soon as the silver-haired human emperor finished speaking, Zhu Kong stood out from behind him and was about to enter the door. Wait! However, his feet suddenly froze in the air. He heard Long Chun say indifferently, 10 divine-level medicinal pills, 300 emperor-level medicinal pills, 500 king-level medicinal pills, and 5,000 spirit-level medicinal pills. Thump, thump! As soon as Long Chun finished speaking, Zhu Kang's body trembled. He almost lost his balance and took a few steps back. Countless people outside the door almost dropped their jaws to the ground. Even Jian Shisan couldn't help but look back at Long Chun. The crowd couldn't help but murmur. A few days ago, I heard that someone from the Juin ancient people was disrespectful to Lord Song. Originally, Lord Song planned to enter their clan to take in disciples, but in the end, they parted on bad terms. Lord Song, I'm afraid this is inappropriate. Among the many 3-star ancient clans in the vicinity, the Juin ancient people have the strongest human emperor powerhouses. Moreover, this is the city of the Juin ancient people. Lord Song has a deep understanding of alchemy, but after all, he's old and can't refine pills, let alone cultivate. Is it really good to offend the Juin ancient people like this? The faces of Zhu Yinzhong and the 3 Taoists who had gone out with Zhu Kong also darkened. Long Chun was deliberately making things difficult for them. The silver-haired human emperor's face also darkened when he heard this. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Long Chun. He said coldly, "Although you're a divine-level alchemist, that's all in the past. Now, you're just wasting your knowledge. Do you really want to make things difficult for the Juin ancient people?" Zhu Yinzhong couldn't help but say coldly, "Uncle, let's go. In a few days, Alchemist Guild Headquarters Alchemy Venerable Gu will be here. He can also cure the poison of the Black Bloodstone. Not only that, but Alchemist Venerable Gu has also heard about this and sent a message to me. I've never heard of a divine-level alchemist by the name of Lord Song. I want to see if this person is really talented." Zhu Yinzhong didn't seem to believe that Long Chun was a divine-level alchemist. The silver-haired human emperor snorted coldly and turned to leave. Chapter 361. Traces of Spirit Medicine. The Juin ancient people all turn around. Zhu Kong had been fine just a moment ago, but now his skin had turned black, and black blood was flowing out of his mouth. He was sprawled on the ground, looking extremely pathetic. "Father, save me." Zhu Kong seemed to be using the last of his strength to hold on to the silver-haired human emperor's robe. Long Chun retracted his divine sense when he saw this, but he said, "Since everyone wants to leave, please leave quickly. I don't want to see any dead people here." The silver-haired human emperor moved his right hand and pulled Zhu Kong into the air, forcefully stabilizing him. The silver-haired human emperor's expression was extremely ugly. He had clearly sensed a divine sense power that surpassed his, and it was that divine sense that had forcefully activated the black blood in Zhu Kang's body. Now that the black blood had entered his heart, Zhu Kong would probably die in a moment, let alone wait for alchemy, supremacy, Gu to arrive. Inzhong, return to the tribe and bring back the pills that Reverend Song wants, the silver-haired human emperor said in a low voice. Although he knew that it was Long Chen's doing, he was unwilling to see Zhu Kong die at this moment. The surrounding people were in an uproar. So many pills are probably equivalent to half a year's worth of consumption for the entire Juyin ancient people. Can't you see that Zhu Kong is in such a state? Although these things are enough to make the Juyin ancient people feel the pinch, they're nothing compared to a Taoist. Although that's the case, I'm afraid Reverend Song has completely offended the Juyin ancient people this time. Zhu Kang's sudden outburst of black blood probably has something to do with Reverend Song. However, Reverend Song has no cultivation now, and he's no longer comparable to an ordinary divine-level alchemist. I'm afraid he's offended the Juyin ancient people like this. However, Long Chun remained seated, calmly staring at the silver-haired human emperor. The silver-haired human emperor also stared at Long Chun and said hoarsely, "Reverend Song, please do it." The Juyin ancient people admit defeat. Although the silver-haired human emperor said that, he was filled with resentment. Long Chun said, "Save the pill." The silver-haired human emperor knew that Long Chun was deliberately making things difficult for him, but there was nothing he could do. Long Chun had a blood-written must-kill order in his hands, and his divine sense was so strong that he was most likely a god-level alchemist in the past. Unless he had no other choice, he would not attack Long Chun. Moreover, because of Zhu Kong, the initiative was still in Long Chen's hands. For a time, the surrounding people sighed endlessly. However, no one dared to make a sound. The silver-haired human emperor could only stand there and wait with a dark expression. After more than 2 hours, Zhu Yinzhong came back with an ashen face. Zhu Yinzhong stared at Long Chun and said coldly, "I, the Juyin ancient people, will remember this debt. When alchemy Venerable Gu arrives, I hope you can still be so safe." Long Chun stared at Zhu Yinzhong and said, "If you say a few more words, this person can't be saved. Hurry up and give it to him." The silver-haired human sovereign hurriedly shouted. Zhu Yinzhong snorted and was about to throw the storage ring in his hand to Jian Shisan. Jian Shisan took the storage ring and naturally understood why Long Chun wanted so many elixirs. The Juyin ancient people were considered the best among the many 3-star ancient clans here. If there were not 3 elixirs among so many elixirs, then they could only target other places in the waste domain. The moment Jian Shisan took the storage ring, he waved his hand and took out all the elixirs. A strange fragrance spread in all directions, as if it was real. The hall of the Red Sun restaurant was almost filled with elixirs, shining brightly. Outside the door, there were continuous exclamations. Among the thousands of elixirs, there were even 10 god-level elixirs. "Sir, what are you doing? Hurry up and save my son." The silver-haired human sovereign's voice was extremely cold. Long Chun did not pay attention to this person at all, but his divine sense quickly scanned every elixir. After more than 10 breaths, Long Chun's eyes suddenly lit up. Among the emperor-level elixirs, there were heart-rending grass and soul-severing incense. Awakening soul elixir, soul condensing elixir, 3 transformations green jade elixir. Long Chun stared at the silver-haired human sovereign and said, "It's very simple to save your son. Take 10 portions of each elixir, and I can save Zhu Kong." When Zhu Yinzhong heard this, he could not help but shout angrily, "Don't you go too far. Go get them." The silver-haired human sovereign's body was cold, but he suddenly shouted. In front of him, Zhu Kang's entire body was as black as ink, extremely terrifying. Zhu Yinzhong was very angry, but he did not dare to disobey the silver-haired human sovereign's order and left again. Long Chen's divine sense moved, and 2 emperor-level elixirs on the ground flew straight to Zhu Kang. He said, "Take these 2 elixirs. They can temporarily reduce the toxicity of his body." The silver-haired human sovereign took a deep look at Long Chen. Although his heart was filled with hatred, he was also shocked by the strength of Long Chen's divine sense. Now, Long Chen did not have any cultivation at all, but his divine sense was like an extension of his arm. When Zhu Yinzhong returned with an ashen face, he threw one elixir after another in front of Long Chen. Long Chen's eyes suddenly shrank. There was indeed heart-rending grass and soul-breaking incense. In this way, as long as he could find the dew of moonlight, he could remove the moon seed in Qing Xin's body. As long as the moon seed was removed, Long Chen would no longer have to worry about anything. Long Chen gestured for Jian Shisan to bring Zhu Kang in front of him. Then, he used a formation to seal the hall, and even the human sovereign powerhouse was expelled from the hall. Jian Shisan then walked forward and put everything away. Long Chen slowly walked forward, and his right hand rapidly moved on Zhu Kang's body, whose fate was unknown. Rays of divine light flickered, and the power of the natural order rose and fell. Zhu Kang's physical body withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. Rays of blood swords were forcibly extracted by Long Chen. The blood that was as black as ink regained its red color and returned to the body. Then, Long Chen's right hand moved, and the vermilion bird fire cloud cauldron appeared. He directly threw Zhu Kang into it an hour later. Long Chen sat in the hall again. The elixirs and cauldrons on the floor had been collected. Zhu Kang's face was rosy as he lay on the ground. The poison of the black bloodstone in his body had been completely refined by the vermilion bird fire cloud cauldron. He's really cured. The black bloodstone that could kill even the Taoists of the Juin ancient people was cured in just an hour. There were many emperor-level alchemists among the Juin ancient people, but none of them could do anything about this poison. Yet, Lord Song cured it so easily. What doubts do we have? The people around believed in Long Chen's title of alchemy venerable more and more. The silver-haired human sovereign, Zhu Yinzhong, and the others took a deep look at Long Chen, then turned and left. After walking out of Nanyang City, the silver-haired human sovereign said, "This person might really have been a god-level alchemist before. However, he only has divine consciousness now. Since Zhu Kang is fine, it's time for this person to pay the price." Yinzhong, alchemy venerable Gu came because of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. Think of a way to contact the Taoists of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. Ask alchemy venerable Gu to come to Nanyang City and get rid of this so-called Lord Song for us. Chapter 362. Alchemy Supreme Gu. Hundreds of thousands of miles away from the north of the wasteland, where many two-star ancient clans resided, 3 black figures appeared on top of a towering mountain. Thousands of miles behind them, countless black figures covered the sky. One of them was skinny and had a wolf-like face. There were 3 wolf stripes on both sides of his face. He looked at the other 2 and said, "Is this your current body? It's so ugly." Isn't your current body the clan leader of the soul-devouring wolf beast clan? No wonder the entire 2-star ancient clan is looking for you. The person who spoke had a big belly. As he spoke, he swallowed a huge ore in his hand. This was the Tao Dai fighting soul. You're still talking about him. Isn't that your clansman? You dug out the heaven-devouring demon python's true body from their ancestral grave. I've heard a lot about it in the wasteland. I'm afraid even the ordinary void return cultivators of the heaven-devouring demon python clan are following you. They thought that the ancestor was resurrected. The one who spoke was a charming woman. She wasn't wearing any clothes, and there were only flames lingering around her. Wherever the flames passed, the void would be destroyed. All right, let's go. If we didn't bring them along, we wouldn't have to move so quickly. We could have used the teleportation formation. I wonder what expression our master will have when he sees the three of us bringing him such a force. You still want to take credit? I heard that the other 6 fellows have rushed to the 10 Directions celestial domain to look for the current body. When that time comes, TSK, TSK. Everyone turned into streams of light and disappeared from the mountain range, heading north of the wasteland. At this moment, although Long Chun felt the 3 divine beast fighting souls approaching, he didn't know that they had brought so many people with them. All his thoughts were on finding the moonlight dew. Countless alchemists came to the Nine Yang city every day. The people of the various ancient clans were no exception. However, they still couldn't find the moonlight dew. 13. Open the door. Long Chun and Jian Shursan came to the main hall of the Red Sun restaurant. If we still can't find the moonlight dew today, the plan has to change. We can't wait any longer. Jian Shursan nodded and walked to the front to open the array. However, a strange scene occurred. The entire street in front of the Red Sun restaurant was completely empty. Long Chun frowned slightly, got up, and walked out. Jian Shursan followed closely behind. This was the first time the two had encountered such a situation since they arrived at the Red Sun restaurant. In the past, the entire Nine Yang city would be packed with people. Long Chun released his divine perception and realized that the entire Nine Yang city was almost empty. Almost 70% of the people had left, and 30% were still on their way out. And from their mouths, Long Chun also learned a piece of news. A true deity-level alchemist had arrived. 13. Go to the Juin ancient people. The moonlight dew might be delivered to your doorstep. Long Chun's eyes lit up, and there was a hint of a smile in his voice. Jian Shursan was also a human king at this moment. With his divine perception, he naturally heard some of the people's discussions. When he heard that Long Chun wanted to go to the Juin ancient people, he couldn't help but ask in a low voice, "Master, we have already offended the Juin ancient people. Now that a deity-level alchemist has appeared, isn't it inappropriate for us to go? Let's go." Once this deity-level alchemist appears, his influence will be much greater than mine. Today, the Juin ancient people is our last chance. We have to think of a way to go even further. As Long Chun spoke, he directly headed to the Juin ancient people. The Juin ancient people had already been packed with people. The scene was even more crowded than Long Chun's Nine Yang city. When Long Chun saw this scene, a smile appeared on his face. He thought to himself that he had made the right decision to come. This deity-level alchemy master was a true deity-level alchemist. He could personally refine deity-level elixirs. Many of the experts who had appeared in the Juin ancient people were not from the ancient clans nearby. The chances of them having clues about the moonlight dew would be much higher. As Long Chun led Jian Shursan forward, the crowd instantly became noisy. The people around them subconsciously scattered to the sides. Isn't that Lord Song? Why is he also here in the Juin ancient people? Lord Song must be feeling indignant. This deity-level alchemy master had just arrived, and he immediately went to the Juin ancient people. Every day, he announced that he would meet the same number of people as Lord Song. Furthermore, he didn't need any entry items. Can't you see? This deity-level alchemy master did this to lure Lord Song here. What kind of status does he have? Naturally, he wouldn't go and find trouble with Lord Song personally. Lord Song is probably here to humiliate himself today. After all, he has no cultivation. Facing a complete deity-level alchemy master, I'm afraid he... The crowd continued to discuss and shook their heads as they looked at Long Chun and Jian Shursan. Before Long Chun and Jian Shursan took a few steps, Zhu Yinzhong walked out from the Juin ancient people. Zhu Yinzhong's face was full of playfulness. He said, "You two came at the right time. Lord Alchemy Master has been waiting for a long time. Today he is refining pills. Please come and watch." Zhu Yinzhong's face was full of mockery. It was obvious that he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Long Chun and Zhu Yinzhong walked directly into the Juin ancient people. Following the stone stairs, they walked directly to the highest mountain in the Juin ancient people's mountain range. There were formations surrounding this place in all directions. At the center of the flat stone square under their feet, there was an old man in a golden robe refining pills. Thousands of people stood around him. These people were dressed differently. Some only had the cultivation of a human sovereign, some had the ability of a human sovereign, and many were young Taoists. Zhu Yinzhong took a deep look at Long Chun and sneered. "There are too many people here. Lord Song, please wait here first." Long Chun was not moved at all. It was as if he did not take Zhu Yinzhong seriously at all. Zhu Yinzhong snorted and left. "However," he said in a low voice, "you will make a fool of yourself later." The formation was activated. At the center of the platform, Lord Alchemy Master's every move and method of refining pills were directly reflected in the sky. It is said that Lord Alchemy Master was trained by the Bright Moon Ancient Clan when he was an Emperor-level alchemist. He then entered the Alchemist Guild headquarters when he became a God-level alchemist. Today, he can come to the Jiuyin Ancient people because of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan's Taoist. The Bright Moon Ancient Clan is one of the 4 great one-star clans. The Moon Essence pill that he is refining today must be refined for the Taoist of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan to be able to make a God-level alchemist come here to refine pills for him. It is enough to show the power of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. The crowd discussed animatedly. It was as if they did not notice Long Chun and Jian Shisan at all. However, Lord Alchemy Master did not seem to want the two of them to just watch from the side. Chapter 363. Alchemy Master Contest. The members of the ancient clans looked on coldly. Many of the Renhuang cultivators stepped forward when they saw this scene. They focused all of their divine consciousness on Long Chun and Yi Futian. Streaks of invisible pressure instantly assaulted the two of them like a violent storm. Long Chun was unscathed, but Jian Shisan felt as if he had been struck by a giant hammer. His entire body flew out and crashed into the mountain wall. The spiritual wills of many human emperors and the azure smoke dragon snake were enough to kill any late-stage human king. A divine-level alchemist only knows such insidious means. Long Chun stood in place, his eyes narrowing. Strands of divine sense spun out from his body, stirring up a gust of wind. The divine senses of the Renhuangs were instantly crushed, and the green smoke dragon snake once again turned invisible. Long Chun's divine sense had the power of a sovereign. Although it couldn't actively attack, it wasn't enough to defend against these people's divine sense. However, the surrounding Renhuangs raised their eyebrows abruptly, and they were all slightly shocked. Who is this person? He can actually break the pressure of our divine consciousness in the blink of an eye, a Renhuang said in surprise. You came here with alchemy Venerable Gu, so you don't know what happened to the Jiuyin ancient people recently. It's said that this old man is also a God-level alchemist, divine-level alchemist. No wonder he has such a powerful divine sense. However, Alchemy Venerable Gu seemed to have targeted this person on purpose. I wonder how good this person's alchemy skills are. How can he compare to Venerable Alchemy Gu? All he has is a divine sense. He can't refine pills at all. He only relies on his mouth to swindle and deceive the surrounding ancient clans. The surrounding people's voices were incessant. They were full of ridicule. They could see that Senior Alchemist Gu was targeting Long Chun. His words were quite flattering. An alchemy venerate who couldn't refine pills, and an alchemy venerate who was refining pills. The experts of the various ancient clans naturally knew which one was more important. Venerable Alchemy Gu's right hand pressed down slightly, sealing the pill cauldron. With an arrogant look on his face, he strode towards Long Chun. He walked in front of Long Chun and said with a smile, I heard that you stole a lot of pills from the Jiuyin ancient people in Zhejiang City a few days ago. When I heard about it, I felt ashamed since you were a divine-level alchemist. Your actions are truly despicable. Oh, that's right. Your Excellency can no longer refine pills. That's understandable. Just now, I made a mistake, and I truly feel sorry for Your Excellency. This person's words were filled with playfulness, and his eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. When the people around heard this, they roared with laughter. Zhu Yinzhong and the silver-haired human sovereign could not help but smile. Longchen replied, "From what I can see, Your Excellency is not much different from me. Bullying a follower of mine, Your Excellency's might is truly unpredictable." Venerable Alchemy, Gu's eyes suddenly turned cold, and he looked deeply at Long Chun. It was as if he did not expect Long Chun to have the guts to oppose him. Then, he sneered and said, "Your Excellency is already half a cripple, yet you still dare to speak such arrogant words. Be careful of your life." "That's right. I came here today for another matter. I have seen almost all the divine-level alchemists in the Waste region, but I never knew that there was someone like you. I wonder if Your Excellency has any other way to prove yourself apart from your powerful divine sense?" The people around them had already sensed the smell of gunpowder. Many of them had seen Long Chen's performance in Jiuyang City over the past few days. In addition, their powerful divine senses had already convinced them that Long Chen was a venerable alchemy Gu. Now, that venerable alchemy Gu wanted to prove himself. It was likely that he was deliberately making things difficult for Long Chen. Once Long Chen was confirmed to be not a divine-level alchemist, the ancient clans present would not let him off easily. Long Chen slowly walked to Jin Shisan's side and helped him up. Then he said to Venerable Alchemy Gu, "If Your Excellency does not believe me, let's have a competition." "Have a competition?" Once Long Chen said that, all the ancient clans looked at each other. He, a person who could not even refine elixirs, actually wanted to compete with Venerable Alchemy Gu? Venerable Alchemy Gu seemed to be stunned for a moment and asked, "You mean you want to compete with me in refining elixirs?" Long Chen nodded slightly and said with a smile, "Since you don't believe that I am a Venerable Alchemy Gu, the two of us will teach someone who does not know how to refine elixirs at the same time. Then we will start refining elixirs." Only then did the people around them let out a long sigh of relief. They secretly thought that such a competition was reasonable. After all, in their eyes, Long Chen did not have any cultivation. If the strength of the two of them was similar, it was not important whether Long Chen was a divine-level alchemist or not. Venerable Alchemy Gu took a deep look at Jian Shisan and sneered, "Why do you have to go through so much trouble? You have no cultivation, right? Then, you and I will refine the most common qi deposition pill today, and I will not use any spiritual power. Then, I will find 2 people in the spiritual martial realm from among the Juin ancient people to consume it. Then we will know the effect." Everyone frowned slightly. Such a competition seemed to be very fair. After all, the lowest level of qi deposition pill could be refined by almost anyone who knew a little about elixirs. But in fact, it was still somewhat unfair to Long Chen. After all, without spiritual power, the use of the pill cauldron and the control of the furnace fire would be limited. Just when everyone thought that Long Chen would insist on using others to refine elixirs, Long Chen said lightly, "That's fine, but I have a request. If I win today, Venerable Alchemy Gu must personally apologize to my follower. You must bow 9 times and hand over 10,000 elixirs as an apology." Venerable Alchemy Gu agreed almost without hesitation. "Good. I like to see how you can win. If I win, you will be pretending to be a god-level alchemist today. Don't blame the human emperors of the ancient clans for getting rid of you for the Alchemist Guild." Hearing this, many of the Juin ancient people, led by the silver-haired human emperor, smiled. If Long Chen was defeated in this way, Long Chen's death would be in vain. With so many human emperors attacking, Long Chen would not even be able to breathe. Outside the Juin ancient people, illusions appeared in the sky. The voices of the two people's conversation were even transmitted through the array. Countless people exclaimed in surprise. Many of them had seen Long Chen's knowledge of alchemy in Nanyang City. Now that 2 great venerable alchemy masters were competing in alchemy, everyone was extremely excited. Even though it was the simplest spirit concentration pill, it was enough to make their blood boil. I never thought that I would be able to witness 2 venerable alchemy masters competing in alchemy. Even so, the chances of Venerable Tsang winning are really slim. Why compare him to Venerable Alchemy Gu? Venerable Tsang's knowledge and understanding of alchemy are definitely worthy of being called a venerable alchemy master. If he loses this competition, wouldn't his death be too aggrieved? You might not know about the pill cauldron in venerable alchemy Gu's hands. It was personally obtained by the Bright Moon ancient clan from the godly corpse realm. Even if it doesn't use any spiritual power to refine chi deposition pills, I'm afraid Venerable Tsang can't compare to it. Chapter 364. Mortal tier medicinal pills above the Joyin ancient people. There were countless Renhuangs and Renhuangs from the various ancient clans present. Alchemy Lord Gu was surrounded by the human emperors of the various ancient clans. After all, he was now a true god-level alchemist from the Alchemist Guild. Venerable Alchemy Gu took the initiative to propose to compete with Long Chun on the simplest condensing chi pill. Naturally, victory was in his grasp. A light flashed in his hand, and a black light landed on the platform. The cauldron was about a few meters tall, with 7 ears and 4 legs. The surface of the cauldron was cast with dark green-black gold, and lines of patterns were engraved on it. As soon as it appeared, the surrounding people felt a wave of ancient aura hit them in the face. This cauldron is the ancient tungsten cauldron. The Bright Moon ancient clan founded in the divine corpse realm for venerable alchemy. The two of them are competing with spirit concentration pills. They are competing with their techniques, skills, and understanding of alchemy. Their use of fire and alchemy cauldrons is a major factor. He has the ancient tungsten metal cauldron, and alchemy's sovereign Gu was nurtured by the Bright Moon ancient clan. Most of his alchemy techniques came from the divine corpse realm in the center of the wasteland, which was passed down from the ancient times. I'm afraid that Azure Sovereign's chances of winning are less than 30%. When the crowd saw how extraordinary this cauldron was, they felt that Long Chun had no chance of winning. Everyone secretly thought that he was too impulsive. With his attainments in alchemy, even if he could not refine elixirs, he could definitely establish himself in the 3-star or 2-star ancient clans. Why bother to compete with this venerable alchemy Gu? Just as the crowd was sighing, Long Chun also moved. His right hand moved slightly, and an alchemy cauldron appeared on the stage just a few dozen meters away from the tungsten cauldron. The pill cauldron looked very ordinary. There was nothing conspicuous about it. Just as the pill cauldron appeared, Venerable Alchemy sneered and said, using a formation to hide the pill cauldron's shape, could it be that the cauldron is too broken? The Joyin ancient people and the other Renhuangs of the ancient clans also couldn't help but laugh. They were all reputable figures in their respective ancient clans. Under normal circumstances, such a method of concealing their pill cauldrons would only be used when their pill cauldrons were of an extremely high grade and were afraid that others would covet their pill cauldrons. Seeing the disdain of the people around him, Long Chun didn't say much. He only said indifferently, "Let's begin." Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu waved his hand in front of everyone's eyes. Everyone felt the temperature around them rise abruptly. Flames rose from under the furnace. With a wave of his hand, he was able to manipulate the power of the law of fire, but his spiritual energy was not affected at all. The surrounding people could not help but be shocked. Just this one move of using the power of laws to refine pills used a total of 5 types of fire tribute power of laws. On the other side, Long Chun had a playful look on his face as he casually moved his right arm. With a flash of light, the strange fire beast appeared from the totem on his right arm. It leaped lazily under the pill cauldron. Then, he spat out flames from his mouth, which burned under the cauldron. Under the gazes of the crowd, the Joyin ancient people placed 10 stalks of spirit medicine in front of the two. The quality of these spirit medicines was extremely low, but they were more than enough to refine ordinary chi deposition pills. This is green leaf grass. This spirit medicine can be refined into a mortal grade 2 chi deposition pill with a little refining. It should be as simple as drinking water for the two of them. Although that's the case, this chi deposition pill represents the honor of a god-level alchemist in their hands. It definitely won't be that easy. Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu took the lead in refining. He really didn't use spiritual energy. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu's hands were so fast that they were like phantoms. Traces seemed to draw the shape of the moon in the air. In just 2 or 3 breaths, 10 stalks of spirit medicine entered the pill cauldron. Flames rose in spirals as the spirit medicine entered the cauldron. Long Chun glanced sideways slightly and secretly thought that Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu's alchemy skills were extremely good. Under the situation where he did not use spiritual energy, whether it was his hands or his alchemy skills, they were still as easy as waving his arms. However, Long Chen was not afraid at all. If it was a normal pill refinement, perhaps with his current alchemy skills, he could not be compared to a god-level alchemist at all. However, if it was just refining such a low-level spiritual energy pill, he was not afraid at all. Moreover, under the situation where spiritual energy was not used, bang, 10 stalks of spirit medicine and the simplest qi deposition pill. Long Chun and Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu finished almost at the same time, less than a quarter of an hour. The people around them were dazzled. It was obviously the simplest qi deposition pill, but the two's hands in control of the fire were poetic and picturesque. I can't tell that you really have some strength. However, with this tungsten cauldron, it's impossible for you to win. Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu seemed to be full of confidence. However, under the situation where spiritual energy was not used, the pill cauldron became the most important factor. It was not unreasonable for him to be so confident. As soon as he finished speaking, Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu opened the pill cauldron. The moment the pill cauldron was opened, a long breath spread out. The faint fragrance made people feel as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. The silver-haired human sovereign of the Joian ancient people quickly stood up and said respectfully, Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu is worthy of being a god-level alchemist trained by the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. This cauldron of qi deposition pills has such a fragrance. As long as one is a god-level alchemist, no matter what kind of pill it is, it must contain countless insights. How can ordinary alchemists compare to them? Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu was also extremely arrogant. As he spoke, he waved his right hand. Under the support of his divine consciousness, pills floated out of the pill cauldron one after another. The 2 Joian ancient people immediately walked out to use the pills, but they were stopped by Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu. He waved his hand and said, Pick someone from the crowd. Don't let others say that I colluded with you. I want to make him accept his defeat wholeheartedly. Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu casually picked someone from the crowd with his right hand. At this moment, Long Chen's pills were also out of the cauldron. However, Long Chen did not use spiritual energy, so Mei and O activated the formation to refine the pills. An old man slowly walked out of the crowd. However, this person seemed to be under a lot of pressure, and his forehead was full of sweat. Now, there were 2 god-level alchemists in front of them. If they were not careful, they might bring about an unexpected disaster. I am an Emperor-level alchemist. It is my honor to evaluate your qi condensation pills today. If there is anything wrong, please don't blame me. Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu smiled and said, It's fine, you can speak frankly. Longshan also nodded and said, Winning or losing has nothing to do with you. You just have to evaluate it. The old man calmed down slightly and took the pill refined by Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu. Puff! After taking the pill, he lightly exhaled a turbid breath, and a faint spiritual light appeared. Good, good, good. The old man's face was a little red, and he couldn't help but cry out, It can only be refined into a mortal grade 2 pill, but it actually surpassed Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu by 2 grades. Not only that, but the spiritual energy inside is also refined naturally. I think if Senior Alchemy Venerable Gu used spiritual energy, this mortal grade 2 pill would make all the major families drool. When the people around heard this, they all nodded, thinking that he was indeed a god-level alchemist. Chapter 365. One who gambles must accept defeat. The Joian ancient people and the silver-haired human emperor couldn't help but sneer. Refining a mortal grade 2 spirit condensing pill into a mortal grade 4 was already the limit. How could Long Chun do any better? As expected of a god-level alchemist, an ordinary chi condensation pill can directly raise my level by 2 levels. I'm afraid that an ordinary 9th grade monarch stage alchemist wouldn't be able to do so without using spiritual power. I wonder what the Azure Sovereign is like. If he can also advance by 2 levels, it can be considered a draw at the very least. This is enough to prove that he was originally a pill venerable. That's a little unlikely. After all, venerable alchemy used an ancient tungsten cauldron, and it was refined with several types of nomological flames, whether it was the Joyan ancient people on the platform or the people outside the Joyan ancient people who were watching through the array formation. Everyone was talking about it. From beginning to end, Long Chun had only used a single type of flame to refine his pills. Although his techniques and various alchemy techniques were extremely beautiful, if he wanted to compete in this competition, he probably wouldn't even be able to achieve a draw. As for winning, that was even more impossible. After all, the grade of the spirit herbs they used was too low. Being able to raise it by 2 grades was already the limit. Long Chun handed the pill to the old man. The old man couldn't help but shake his head. He casually took a pill and swallowed it. However, the moment he swallowed the pill, his face suddenly flushed red, and he couldn't help but gasp for air. Waves of spiritual energy surged out from his mouth and nose. Everyone around took a step forward in unison, their faces filled with confusion. What's going on? What's wrong with this person? Why is his spiritual energy so unstable? Everyone's face was filled with doubt. However, the old man quickly returned to normal, but his body still couldn't help but tremble a little. After a while, he let out a long sigh of relief and opened his eyes. How is it? Did this person also raise the level of the energy concentration pill by 2 grades? The Joyan ancient people couldn't help but ask. The old man shook his head with a bitter smile, as if he was still in a daze. When he shook his head, the people around him sighed. It seemed that Long Chun had still been defeated. Venerable ancient alchemy also smiled as he walked up to Long Chun and said, "Since you can't raise this chi condensation pill by 2 grades, then you will lose today. Your life will end here." However, the old man waved his hand in front of everyone with an awkward expression. He stammered, "No, Lord Song didn't lose. His pill isn't a mortal tier grade 4 pill. It's a mortal tier grade 6 pill." Wong. Everyone felt as if a bolt of lightning had struck their minds. For a moment, they were unable to react. A Renhuang cultivator couldn't help but shout, "What did you say? You're saying that this person can refine a mortal rank 2nd grade chi condensation pill into a 6th grade spirit rank pill? How is that possible? Don't talk nonsense. There are many Renhuangs here today. Be careful of your life. Raising a mortal grade 2 pill by 2 grades is already the limit. How can he raise it by 4 grades? Everyone cried out in surprise. No one was willing to believe the old man's words. Venerable ancient alchemy's smile came to an abrupt end. His entire face was ashen as he said coldly, "Nonsense. This person refined a pill with the fire of a demon beast. How can he raise it above the 4th grade? The people around him nodded. Venerable ancient alchemy had used several types of principal flames, which were far superior to those of a demon beast fire. Refining a pill only raised it by 2 grades. Daodu, the exotic fire beast, seemed to understand his words. It bared its teeth and roared twice. However, no one could see its ferocity from its appearance. Long Chen's lips curled into a playful smile. He waved his right hand to summon the exotic fire beast. He said faintly, "Why do you think this old man's assessment was fair? You don't believe it now." Venerable ancient alchemy glared fiercely at Long Chun. He was speechless. The silver-haired human emperor of the Joyan ancient people didn't know what to do when he saw this scene. However, Long Chun snorted coldly. His hand moved, and his divine sense instantly took out the pills from the other furnaces. There are still 6 pills left. Anyone who knows alchemy can come up and take them. Compare them with the pills in venerable ancient alchemy's hands. See if this old man is lying. As Long Chen's voice fell, everyone looked at each other. Not long after, a few Emperor-level alchemists finally couldn't help but step forward and take the pills one by one. It's a common grade 6 pill. My God, how is this possible? He actually refined a common grade 2 pill into a common grade 6 pill. There's no mistake. This is indeed a spirit-condensing pill refined from the 10 spirit herbs just now. It's really unbelievable that he can refine such a grade with a demon beast fire without using spiritual power. Venerable Ancient Alchemy took a few steps back when he heard everyone's words. His face flushed red. In the end, his face suddenly turned cold. His right hand reached out and grabbed one of the spirit herbs refined by Long Chen. Then he swallowed it. How is this possible? Venerable Ancient Alchemy cried out. At this moment, everyone no longer had any doubts. Venerable Ancient Alchemy had personally taken the pill and looked like this. The result was needless to say. The faces of the Join ancient people suddenly drooped. Long Chen, on the other hand, smiled faintly. This spirit-condensing pill was basically the limit. However, he didn't use a demon beast fire. Instead, he used several types of demon flames refined in the body of an exotic fire beast. And his cauldron was no ordinary cauldron. It was one of the 4 divine cauldrons, the black tortoise overflowing water cauldron. Sir, you must accept your loss. 10,000 pills and an apology. Long Chen walked forward, seemingly unmoved by Venerable Ancient Alchemy's identity. He didn't want to leave him any face. Just now, this person thought he had lost, but he still wanted to take his life. This bet could be considered as extremely benevolent. When the human emperor of the Join ancient people saw this scene, his entire face was so gloomy that it was about to drip water. Today, the Join ancient people had made such a big fuss, but Venerable Ancient Alchemy had lost. This was a complete loss of face for the Join ancient people. Impudent. Venerable Ancient Alchemy status is not enough for him to bow 9 times to your follower. The silver-haired human emperor shouted coldly, and the pressure around him swept out. When Long Chen saw this scene, his face suddenly turned cold. He said in a deep voice, "What? Venerable Ancient Alchemy wanted to take my life just now. Now that he's lost, is the 9 giant corpse tribe going to make a move? Now that all the ancient clans have gathered here, and the images from the 4 sides array are being transmitted, the Join ancient people can be shameless. But do you not want Venerable Ancient Alchemy?" When Long Chen said this, the silver-haired human emperor couldn't help but be stunned. The 2 people behind him shook their heads slightly and transmitted their divine thoughts to him. Venerable Ancient Alchemy slowly walked out, but his face was as yellow as wax and extremely ugly. He never thought that he would really lose to an old man without the slightest bit of spiritual power. Today's matter was witnessed by many 3-star ancient clans and countless alchemists. If he really went back on his words and used force to suppress others, he was afraid that he would no longer have any status in the Alchemist Guild headquarters. Think carefully. If you give me a way out of today's matter, we can still be friends. Chapter 366. Coincidence. Senior Alchemist Gu's voice was extremely cold. It was so low that only Long Chen, who was in front of him, could hear it. However, Long Chen ignored his threat and couldn't help but sneer. The Taoist of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan had planted the moon seed in Qing Xian's body, which had already angered Long Chen. Even if the Bright Moon Ancient Clan did not come looking for him, he would still settle this score. Your Excellency had better hurry up and perform the 9 kowtows. Don't forget, there are still 10,000 medicinal pills. I don't have a limit on the grade of these pills. Otherwise, I'm really afraid that you won't be able to take them out." Long Chen shouted coldly. His divine sense swept out, and his voice traveled tens of thousands of meters without weakening. Venerable Alchemy Gu's power of law fluctuated unsteadily all over his body, and his face turned purple. In the end, he only said the word "good" 3 times. Then he walked in front of Jian Shisan and bowed 9 times. Every time he bowed, The murderous intent in his eyes intensified. Today, Juin ancient people were the focus of attention, and he was a god-level alchemist from the Alchemist Association headquarters. Since he had lost, he couldn't do anything. Otherwise, even if he managed to kill Long Chun, he was afraid that there would be no place for him in the Alchemist Guild. Everyone knew that the Alchemist Guild valued their reputation. However, when the people present saw this scene, they all sighed and shook their heads. How could they not know about alchemy Venerable Gu's misgivings? However, after today, perhaps Long Chun would die without anyone knowing. After Venerable Alchemy Gu finished his 9 bows, Jian Shursan snorted coldly and said, "This is the first time I've been bowed to by a Venerable Alchemy Gu. I hope you'll still be in such a good mood the next time I see you." Senior Alchemist Gu's face turned ugly. He turned around and was about to leave when Long Chun called out, "There are still 10,000 medicinal pills. Your Excellency, don't forget. How can I take out 10,000 pills in such a short time? I only have 500 Emperor-grade pills here. I'll give them all to you." Senior Alchemist Gu's chest heaved violently. He was so angry that he couldn't take it anymore. However, Long Chun acted as if he didn't see it and said, 10,000 medicinal pills, regardless of grade. Could it be that Your Excellency thinks that 500 pills will be enough to send me off? Could it be that this is the magnanimity of a divine-ranked alchemist from the Alchemist Guild headquarters? When Venerable Gu Alchemy heard Long Chun's words, he felt a sweet taste in his throat and a mouthful of blood almost rushed out. 10,000 pills, then 10,000 pills. I hope you have a life to enjoy them. Venerable Ancient Alchemy said in a low voice that only the two of them could hear. After that, he shouted coldly, "I'll owe anyone who's able to gather 10,000 medicinal pills for me today, regardless of their grade. And I'll give him 10 divine-grade medicinal pills in the future. If Alchemy Venerable Gu needs it, my clan will naturally not shirk its duty." Venerated Alchemy is a man of his word, worthy of the title of Venerated Alchemy. My clan is willing to gift this pill to Venerated Alchemy. As Senior Alchemy Lord Gu's voice fell, many Renhuangs of the Ancients stepped forward. This was the influence of a divine-level alchemist. 10,000 elixirs of any grade could make a god-level alchemist owe him a favor, and this was a good deal that was hard to come by. When Long Chun saw this, he immediately spread out his divine sense and tried his best not to show any pressure. He forcibly memorized the origin of each elixir in his mind. With the help of 10 Renhuangs of the 3-star ancient clans, Venerable Ancient Alchemy Lord finally gathered 10,000 elixirs and handed them to Long Chun. After putting away the elixirs, Long Chun motioned Jian Shursan to leave directly, and his divine sense quickly checked every elixir in the elixirs. However, as soon as the two of them left the Juin ancient people and traveled less than 10,000 meters to the west, Long Chun's face darkened, and he motioned Jian Shursan to stop. Jian Shursan said in a low voice, "Today, we've made Venerable Ancient Alchemy Lord lose face. I'm afraid he won't let us go." Long Chun shook his head with a wry smile and said, "Even so, we can't leave now. Among these 10,000 elixirs, hundreds of them have moonlight dew." Jian Shursan raised his eyebrows when he heard this, and then he cried out involuntarily, Could they all be Venerable Ancient Alchemy Lord's elixirs?" Long Chun nodded slightly and replied, "That's right. These hundreds of elixirs all came from him. If I'm not wrong, he probably has a lot of moonlight dew." On the other side, after Long Chun left, the rest of the Juin ancient people also left with a sigh. Venerable Ancient Alchemy Lord's face was still very pale. When he saw everyone leave, he said coldly, "Destroy all these formations for me." As soon as his voice fell, the silver-haired human emperor could not help but feel resentful. He waved his hand and destroyed all the formations that were transmitting images from all sides. However, he felt bitter in his heart. At that time, Venerable Ancient Alchemy Lord had personally ordered him to set up these formations in order to wait for Long Chun to come and defeat him. But now, it was the complete opposite. "Kill him for me. I want to see his head in 3 days." Venerable Ancient Alchemy Lord said. The silver-haired human emperor of the Juin ancient people frowned and said, "This person has a blood must-kill order. If he spreads this order, we Juin ancient people won't dare to be enemies with the Dark Star organization. Moreover, if this person is really a divine-level alchemist, I'm afraid he has many connections behind him. It's inevitable that he has a 2-star ancient clan or an even stronger existence." The Juin ancient people had many fears. Even if the influence of a divine-level alchemist could not overturn the Juin ancient people, it was enough to cause unrest in their clans. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he was not willing to take the risk. Venerable ancient alchemy lord's eyes suddenly narrowed. He walked up to the silver-haired human emperor and said, "I want you to kill him. Don't you understand? The Bright Moon ancient clan will bear all the consequences. The Taoists of my clan order me to come here so that the 9 giant corpse tribe and the Shui clan can improve their strength. When the time comes, the Moon Seed will continue, and your clans will indirectly become a subsidiary of the Bright Moon ancient clan. With the Bright Moon ancient clan around, there will be few people in the Waste Realm who could destroy the Juin ancient people." The silver-haired human emperor hurriedly stepped back and lowered his head as he agreed. Venerable ancient alchemy lord snorted coldly and turned to leave. Zhu Yinzhong, Zhu Kong, and a few other Taoists came forward and said coldly to the silver-haired human emperor, "Didn't the so-called Azure Sovereign have no spiritual power? It won't be difficult to take his life. If we rely on the Taoists of the Bright Moon ancient clan, our clan will have a chance to become a 2-star ancient clan and even lead the 3-star ancient clans." Zhu Yinzhong continued. The silver-haired human emperor glanced coldly at Zhu Yinzhong and snorted coldly. "I hope that the Taoist of the Bright Moon ancient clan will keep his word. If he takes the Moon Seed in your bodies, he can still leave a foundation for you. Otherwise, the Juin ancient people will completely lose hope. Father, don't worry. You, the Great Elder, and the Second Elder are all human emperors. The entire 9 giant corpse tribe is in your hands. Since the Bright Moon ancient clan intends to use the Moon Seed technique here, they won't go too far. Moreover, this is the only way." Young Master Han Luo of the Bright Moon ancient clan said that he would come personally. That is the day of your Qing Xian's wedding. Chapter 367. The intent of sinking the boat. The silver-haired human emperor frowned slightly. He stared at Zhu Kong and said, "The person beside Song Zun is only a human king, and he can only use his divine sense. There's nothing to worry about. The two of you go and take his head. Remember, you must do it cleanly. He has a blood-written must-kill command. Remember not to reveal any flaws." When a short Taoist behind Zhu Kong heard this, he said, "Uncle, although it is not convenient for you to take action, we have to succeed in this operation. Otherwise, there will be endless trouble. Let the two of us bring along a few late-stage human monarchs." The silver-haired human emperor nodded slightly and said, "You must succeed in one strike." After the silver-haired human emperor left, Zhu Yinzhong glanced at Zhu Kong and said with a playful smile, "That person saved your life, but you want to kill him. Don't tell me you can't do it." "Ha!" Zhu Kong snorted and replied, "If not for the fact that this person saved my life, I would have killed him personally at the Elixir Assembly. Today, I will torture him well." As Zhu Kong spoke, he left with the short Taoist behind him. When the two of them left, their faces were covered in black. There were 6 or 7 late-stage human kings following behind them. 2 Taoists. It's just killing a human king and an alchemy venerable without cultivation. Is there need to make such a big fuss? A black-clothed, middle-aged man could not help but ask softly. Zhu Kong stood at the front and said coldly, "This person used to be an alchemy venerable. We must not let our guard down. However, killing an alchemy venerable is indeed exciting." The group moved stealthily. However, after a full day and night, they searched many cities near the Juin ancient people, but they did not find any trace of Songzun. At this moment, Long Chun and Jian Shursan had already changed back to their original appearances. Long Chun and Jian San had been in Nanyang City since the beginning. Today, the two Taoists of the joined ancient people have gone back and forth in Nanyang City 3 times. It looks like alchemy Venerable Gu really wants to take our lives, Long Chun said with a faint fragrance, Jian San. Under Long Chen's divine sense, although these people deliberately hid their identities, he still saw them clearly. 2 Taoists and 7 late-stage human monarchs. It seems like I can only start with them if I want to obtain the moonlight due from alchemy supremacy Gu, Long Chan said as he slowly walked down from the bed. Jian San followed closely behind, and the two of them walked out of the room. Outside Jiang City, on a 10,000-meter-long road, Long Chun and Jian San once again transformed into Song Zun and his follower. Master, although you are not afraid of anyone below the human sovereign realm with your current cultivation, even if you deactivate the moonlight dew, how can you fight against the heaven-defying great path disciple of the bright moon ancient clan and the entire human sovereign of the Nineteen ancient clan? In the end, Jian San could not hold back the doubts in his heart. Long Chun had purposely lured a few Taoists to chase after him. Once he attacked, these people would not be a threat at all. However, doing so would be equivalent to starting a war with the joined ancient people. Moreover, once they obtained the moonlight dew, how would they rescue Qing Xian and fight against the joined ancient people? To Jian San, this was equivalent to a dead end. Long Chan shook his head but said lightly, I might have thought about what you said clearly in the past, but now Qing Xian is going to get married in less than 10 days. As long as I can solve the problem of the moon seed, even if I have to carry her and fight against the joined ancient people, I won't hesitate. Long Chen's voice was cold, as if he already had the intention to fight with all his might. Jian San was slightly stunned. In the past, Long Chen's actions were methodical, as if he knew everything by heart. However, today's words were full of madness. Long Chen looked at Jian San and suddenly could not help but laugh. He said, San, are you afraid? Jian San quickly bowed and said solemnly, San will never forget Master's kindness. Moreover, since the day I held the sword, I have never been afraid of anyone. The worst that can happen is death. The two of them walked closer and closer to the mountain stream. Long Chen looked at the broken sword that Jian San always carried on his back and murmured, You are obsessed with the sword. Even if you die with the sword, you will have no regrets. In my previous life, I was obsessed with hatred. My life was worse than death. In this life, I am obsessed with love. Just like you, I'm not afraid of death. Moreover, when the time comes, they will have to consider whether it is worth exchanging their human emperors for my life. Jian San heard Long Chen's murmur and did not say anything else. He just followed behind him. He did not seem to be surprised by Long Chen's words about his previous life. He knew that even though Long Chen had the intention to cut off all means of retreat, if he used all his trump cards, the ancient clans would definitely face a huge disaster. On the other side, Zhu Kong, another Taoist, and 7 human kings immediately inquired about Long Chen's whereabouts. They quickly found Long Chen's whereabouts. They originally wanted to wait for Long Chun and Jian San to enter the depths of the mountain before killing them in one fell swoop. However, just as Long Chun and Jian San entered the mountain stream, their figures slowly changed. The old Lord Song Zun transformed into a young man. Jian San also reverted to his hemp clothes. A broken sword was wrapped behind his back, revealing only the sword hilt. The two of them suddenly stopped. Long Chun said faintly, There are few people here. You can attack now. Zhu Kong and the others' expressions suddenly froze. They no longer hid and appeared 1,000 meters away from Long Chun and the others. Zhu Kong and the other Taoists were extremely shocked. They looked at Long Chun in a daze. What's going on? You too. That Lord Song Zun was actually you. How? How is this possible? Zhu Kong and the other Taoists had seen Long Chun before. Now that they saw it, they felt that it was unbelievable. A young man could actually impersonate an alchemy venerate and even surpass a real alchemy venerate in alchemy. Could this young man be an alchemy venerate? As soon as this thought appeared, the two of them shook their heads fiercely. Even the youngest alchemy venerate in the entire Waste region was over 100 years old and had the strength of a human emperor. It was impossible for an alchemy venerate who was less than 20 years old to exist. This person is not an alchemy venerate. I think that the blood must kill order might not be real. It's too easy to kill two young people today. A middle-aged man in the late stage of the human king said disdainfully. Zhu Kong frowned slightly. He did not know whether the blood must kill order was real or fake. However, now that things had come to this point, there was no way out. Moreover, with their lineup, it would be easy to take down two human kings. Attack. Destroy their bodies and spirits within 3 moves. Regardless of whether the blood must kill order is real or not, we must not give them a chance to breathe. Following Zhu Kang's order, the short Taoist behind him instantly rushed out with him. The 7 experts in the late stage of the Human King realm also rushed out. Their speed was so fast that they were like phantoms. Formless Sword Art. First move, Formless Sword Soul Slash. Formless Sword Art. First move, Formless Sword Soul Slash. Long Chun and Jian Shisan leaped out. Their swords were like a gentle breeze as they used the Formless Sword Art at the same time. The 2 Taoists and 7 experts in the late stage of the Human King realm from the Joint Ancient people were stunned when they saw this scene. They could not help but laugh. Chapter 368. A complete break. The 7 late-stage human kings all brandished the weapons in their hands at the same time. The martial arts techniques they practiced were all god-level martial arts techniques. To be able to reach the late-stage human king level, they had completely comprehended at least one type of rule power. Every attack carried an unparalleled power. One after another, the light screens of the laws descended. Although the other 2 Taoists were only mid-stage human kings, each of them had comprehended a total of 3 types of rule power. Their strength was actually superior to the late-stage human kings. The 9 of them attacked together, and the surrounding mountains instantly collapsed with a loud bang. Zhu Kang and the short Taoist were especially powerful. Zhu Kang's entire body was covered in flames. 3 flames lingered endlessly, and under his attack, the entire mountain was set ablaze. He had actually comprehended 3 types of flame power. The other person was the exact opposite. He had comprehended 3 types of water-type rule power. His attack was like a raging tsunami, and there were even a few water dragons that covered the sky. Boom! Boom! The ground suddenly split open, one by one. The power of the natural order exploded in the air. Long Chun and Jian Shisan used the void sword technique at the same time, and it collided forcefully with the crowd's rule power. Slash! Slash! Long Chun did not retreat a single step, and the sword in his hand moved again. At the side, Jian Shisan seemed somewhat powerless. With his combat strength, even the 2 Taoists present were no match for him. However, facing the attacks of 9 people, he was somewhat powerless. Jian Shisan spat out several mouthfuls of blood. However, under his void sword, the souls of the 3 late-stage human kings were instantly shattered. In comparison, Long Chen's sword was even more terrifying. Not only did it force back the 2 Taoists, but also directly killed 4 late-stage human kings. Jian Shisan stared blankly at Long Chen's sword. His eyes were filled with fervor, as if he was very hopeful about Long Chen's sword. On the other side, the remaining people turned pale with fright after this attack, and they stood in a daze on the spot. With one move, 9 against 1, 6 people had actually died. How? How is this possible? What greatest sword art is this? Zhu Kang cried out involuntarily. You're clearly just an early-stage human monarch, yet you managed to kill 4 late-stage human monarchs with one strike. I'm afraid that even ordinary 2-star human monarch Taoists wouldn't be able to do this. Zhu Kang and the other Taoists' faces were filled with fear. Although these 4 people were only ordinary late-stage kings, the two of them could easily defeat them. However, to be able to kill these people so easily under the suppression of the two of them was truly a little terrifying. After the exchange of blows, the two of them had already lost their will to fight and were about to slowly retreat. Unfortunately, Long Chun suddenly disappeared from where he stood. When he reappeared, he was already behind the two of them. Bang bang! Two raging flames instantly exploded between their chests and abdomens. Their bodies turned into ashes at a speed visible to the naked eye, and their souls struggled out. Zhu Kang's soul trembled incessantly and was about to rush out again in an instant. However, he was grabbed by Long Chun. The two three-star Taoists were killed by Long Chun in just one exchange of blows. Zhu Kang's soul trembled like a sieve as he said in a trembling voice, "You just used a sage stage mastery movement technique. Who are you?" Only then did the two of them realize that they were not the only ones. Even the souls of the people who had just died were crawling on the ground as if they were being suppressed by Long Chun. Poof, poof, poof. Just as the two of them were trembling in fear, the souls of the late-stage human monarchs below them were completely shattered. There was another late-stage human monarch who was so frightened that his face had already turned pale. He stood where he was and did not dare to move at all. He was actually trembling nonstop. Go back and tell the Juin ancient people. If they want the souls of these two Taoists, bring 10 sets of spirit herbs needed to refine the moon condensation pill and come personally to exchange for them. Long Chun said in a low voice. Long Chun did not directly ask for the moonlight dew. He was not sure if the Bright Moon Ancient clan also knew that this item was useful to unlock the moon seed. After all, both the Moonlight Dew and the Moon Seed came from the Bright Moon Ancient clan. The late-stage human monarch felt as if he had been pardoned as he scrambled and quickly disappeared from Long Chun's sight. Long Chun looked at the souls of Zhu Kang and the other Taoist. A cold smile flashed across his lips as he said, "I was the one who helped you get rid of the black bloodstone's poison that day. Now your physical body has been destroyed in my hands. This is karma." Zhu Kang and the short Taoist souls looked at each other and hurriedly said, "Spare our lives. That moon condensation pill ancient alchemist must have it. This pill is a specialty of the Bright Moon Ancient clan. Sir, as long as you don't destroy our souls, the Juin ancient people will never." Poof. However, before the two of them could finish speaking, Long Chun grabbed the air with his left hand. His powerful divine thought instantly crushed their souls into a ball and held them in his hand. The two Taoists of the Juin ancient people were now at the mercy of others. When Jian Shisan saw Long Chun's reaction, he said, "Master, if that silver-haired human emperor comes, even if he has the moonlight dew, I'm afraid we won't be able to leave safely." A glint flashed across Long Chun's eyes. However, he said in a low voice, "It's not impossible for a human emperor to do something." Long Chun seemed to have already calculated in his heart and began to plan. Strange flames fell into the mountain peaks. Then Long Chun took out countless spirit stones and began to pile them up. Jian Shisan looked at this scene in shock. Long Chun had used hundreds of thousands of supreme-grade spirit stones and 4 types of flames to link the 4 mountain peaks together. He was building a formation, after a long time, on the other side. When the silver-haired human emperor of the 9 ancient clans saw that there was only one human king disciple left, his face darkened. Moon condensation pill? What does this person want this pill for? The silver-haired human emperor was puzzled. As he pondered, the silver-haired human emperor rushed toward the Shui clan. When he reached the Shui clan, Alchemy Master Gu and a few other human emperors suddenly appeared. "Has the Lord Song been killed?" Alchemy Master Gu asked in a low voice. The silver-haired human emperor shook his head and said, "The so-called Lord Song is actually a young man in disguise. However, this person's combat power is extraordinary. My son and another Taoist were careless and captured by him. This person wants 10 sets of materials for the moon condensation pill. Please help us, Alchemy Master Gu." The human emperor of the Shui clan sneered and said, Joey's ancient people are being led by the nose by two young men. This is the biggest joke in the world. Alchemy Master Gu snorted and said, "Both of your cultivations have already stabilized after consuming my pills. Quickly settle this matter. Han Luo Daoist still has many things for you to do." The Shui clan quickly nodded and stopped pushing the silver-haired human emperor. He said in a low voice, "The two of us will go to the northern region and kill everyone related to the person who killed our Daoist. When we return, we will be at Han Luo Daoist's disposal." Chapter 369. On the eve of the Great War II, Ren Huangs from the ancient Shui clan set foot on the road to the northern region. All of our path chosen died in the northern region. Today, we will definitely kill everyone who is related to them. One of the younger Ren Huangs said sternly. The other old man also coldly snorted and said, "Not only that, the two of us have personally come this time around to find a way to perfect the blood evil art and perfect the strength of our bloodline. I just don't know who in the northern region has the guts to kill the Daoist of the Xie clan and the Ancient clan, the Soul Ivy clan, or the God Wolf clan." After the two left, the silver-haired human sovereign took the spiritual medicine from Lord Gu and rushed towards the mountain where Long Chun was. Alchemy Venerable Gu had also left the Xie clan and headed to another 3-star Ancient clan. This Ancient clan was also the Ancient clan that had been planted with the Moon Seed. Venerable Ancient Alchemy had come to the Juyin Ancient people for the Moon Seeds left behind by Han Luo, the heaven-defying Tao child of the Bright Moon Ancient clan. At this moment, between the mountain peaks, Longchun and Jianshi San stood in the same place. The surroundings seemed to be incomparably peaceful. Only Jianshi San knew that there was a boundless killing intent hidden within these four mountains, according to Longchun. Although this array was only at the king stage, it had used hundreds of thousands of top-grade spirit stones and was supported by a strange flame. Boom! Just as the two of them did not move, the huge tree 10,000 meters away turned into fragments that filled the sky. The mountain range also shattered in an instant, as if there was an earthquake. It was as if an earth dragon was walking on the earth. In just a few breaths, he had crossed 10,000 meters. The silver-haired human emperor stopped 1,000 meters away from Longchun. Behind him, the mountains had already collapsed and rocks were tumbling down. Jianshi San gripped the broken sword with a solemn expression. His palms were covered in sweat. Although Longchun's expression did not change, invisible laws appeared behind him, as if he was facing a great enemy. The silver-haired human emperor glared at Longchun with eyes as sharp as knives. He said coldly, "Where are the two Taoists of my clan?" Longchun waved his right hand, and the souls of Zhu Kong and the other Taoist appeared in front of everyone while trembling. "Father, save me! Save me!" The two of them cried out in fear. They knew that Longchun could destroy their souls with a wave of his hand, and all their cultivation would go down the drain. Longchun said, 10 sets of moon condensing pill materials." The silver-haired human emperor could not stop sneering. Without another word, he casually threw the 10 sets of spiritual herbs on the ground. Longchun waved his hand and put away the elixir. Retreat. The moment they put away the elixirs, Longchun and Jianshi San instantly retreated. Their bodies were like lightning, and their speed had reached their peak. At the same time, the souls of Zhu Kong and the other Taoists instantly shot towards the silver-haired human emperor like sharp swords. The silver-haired human emperor's expression changed, and he waved his hand to save the souls of the two. Unfortunately, in the next moment, there was a loud bang in front of him, and a shockwave spread out in all directions. The souls of the two had actually exploded out of thin air as they approached him. "Today I'm going to extract your souls and torture them to death." The silver-haired human emperor's eyes were wide open. However, just as he moved 100 meters, he saw flames rising into the sky from all directions. Countless ropes, formed by the power of laws, shot towards him from all directions, forcibly binding him to the spot. Crackle. Flames lingered on the ropes. Even though he had the body of a human emperor, it cracked inch by inch, and an ear-piercing sound of burning could be heard. Bang! 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 The ropes instantly shattered, and the silver-haired human emperor's bones emitted a dazzling silver light that shot into the heavens. The surrounding strange flames trembled like a tidal wave, but in the next moment, dozens of ropes appeared again after one was broken. After a few dozen breaths, the surrounding mountains had all turned into powder. Seas of fire burned as the silver-haired human emperor rushed out. Silver light spat out from his body as he roared incessantly. Unfortunately, in just 100 breaths, Long Chun and Jian Shursan had already used their saint-level movement techniques and disappeared without a trace. Long Chun and Jian Shursan ran for a full day before stopping. They hid their auras and hollowed out a small mountain to enter. Long Chun looked at the moonlight dew in his hand, then took out 2 other spiritual herbs and began to refine the elixir. This elixir could solve the problem of the moon seed. Before refining the elixir, Long Chun drew in the air with his right hand. After a while, a bloody word dissipated in the air and scattered into nothingness. Jian Shursan frowned. He knew that the area within 100,000 miles of the Juin ancient people would undergo earth-shattering changes. This was a kill order written in blood. In a few days, it will be Qing Xian's wedding day. Accompany me to the Juin ancient people, Long Chun said coldly. Jian Shursan stood with his fists cupped, full of murderous intent. Within 100,000 miles of the Juin ancient people, countless black shadows walked out from the darkness. Then, as if they had received some kind of order, they quickly rushed in a certain direction. Streaks of black shadows gathered from all directions like rivers and streams. Many Renhuangs of the ancients activated their clan protection matrix when they saw this scene and trembled in fear. Interesting. This is the kill order written in blood by the Dark Star organization. This direction seems to be similar to where our master is. Stop eating. What if our master is hurt by the Dark Star organization's formation? Let's hurry up and let the ancient race people who are following you too transform into their original bloodlines and follow us. Let's go. The Taodai fighting soul, the Yazi fighting soul, and the Kirin fighting soul. One of the 3 fighting souls was this fat man who kept eating ores and countless rare treasures. He was the current body of the Taodai fighting soul. The skinny man who looked like a hungry wolf was the Yazi fighting soul. This woman who was covered in flames and had a worried expression was the divine beast fighting soul. Kirin. The 3 of them sped up. The dark clouds behind them were vast and mighty. Wherever they passed, the 3-star ancient race land was instantly destroyed. There were countless human kings in the dark clouds. Wherever they passed, the human kings would retreat and the human kings would prostrate themselves. Long Chun did not expect that the 3 divine beast fighting souls would bring him 2 2-star ancient races of the wilderness. On the other side, the faces of the human emperors of the Juin ancient people were as gloomy as ice. The Dark Star organization gathered here like a torrent. The first thing they thought of was the kill order. An old human emperor walked to the silver-haired human emperor and snorted, "2 little human kings escaped from your hands. You have left behind an endless source of trouble for our clan this time. What's the use of talking about this now? You use supreme alchemy to order our clan to attack. Now that that person has used the kill order, only the Bright Moon Ancient Clan can help our clan get through this crisis," another human emperor said. The silver-haired human emperor also said coldly, "Tomorrow, we will hold Qing Xian's wedding immediately." The heaven-defying Daozi of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan has taken a fancy to the pure 9-yin bloodline in Qing Xian's body. He will definitely come. Just as the few of them were discussing, Zhu Yinzhong slowly walked out. However, his eyes were full of arrogance, which was incompatible with his usual aura. It was as if he was a different person. Chapter 370. I'm here to get you. Zhu Yinzhong walked up to the Run Huang of the Juin ancient people without a shred of respect on his face, other than the slight change in his appearance. It was as if he had become another person. Greetings, Bright Moon Clan's Han Luo Dao child. Greetings, Taoist. The Julian ancient people seemed to have sensed the change in Zhu Yinzhong and hurriedly bowed. Zhu Yinzhong stared at them and said, "Interesting, a young man can make you all look like this." Zhu Yinzhong's voice also became cold. The faces of the Julian ancient people turned ugly, and they didn't know how to respond. The silver-haired human emperor could not help but step forward and say in a deep voice, "Taoist, you might not know this, but this person seems to not only have extremely high attainments in the Tao of alchemy, but he also seems to have dabbled in the Tao of formations. That day, he actually used 4 mountains to trap me for 100 breaths. Otherwise, how could he have escaped? Tao child, please save us Julian ancient people." Several Julian ancient people also stared at Zhu Yinzhong. Han Luo, the great path of the Haoyue ancient clan, had left a moon seed in Zhu Yinzhong's body, so he could control his body at any time. At this moment, perhaps only Han Luo could help the Julian ancient people avoid this calamity. Didn't you want Qing Xian to get married tomorrow? Then let's do it tomorrow. Through Zhu Yinzhong's body, I will completely activate the bloodline of the Julian ancient people in her body. Then, I will use the moon seed to seize their cultivation and bloodline power. Hearing Han Luo's words, the Julian ancient people heaved a sigh of relief. Only the 4th elder, who had been standing outside the door, sighed. The Julian ancient people had become the Haoyue ancient clan subordinates, and several Taoists and human sovereigns had become Han Luo's pawns. With just a few words, Zhu Yinzhong returned to his original appearance. However, his expression did not look good. Although he and Qing Xian would be getting married tomorrow, in reality, he was equivalent to being a Tao disciple of the Bright Moon ancient clan. Time flew by. Late at night, the Julian ancient people gradually stopped worrying because several Renhuangs and Taoists from various clans had arrived at the Julian ancient people. They also clearly sensed that the Taoists of the ancient race had the aura of the moon seed. In other words, these people were the moon seeds that the Taoists of the Bright Moon ancient clan had subdued. The sky was just beginning to brighten. The Julian ancient people had already activated the Great Protective Array. The outside of the ancient race was terrifyingly quiet. Not even the roars of demonic beasts could be heard from the surrounding mountains. However, among the Julian ancient people, everyone, including the Renhuang, was on high alert. They knew that outside the formation, every corner could be filled with danger. This was how terrifying the Dark Star organization was. In the wasteland, if the Alchemist Guild headquarters was said to be a force that could suppress the 4 one-star ancient clans, then the Dark Star organization was an existence that could make the entire wasteland tremble. The wedding will proceed as planned. Zhu Yinzhong's figure appeared at the top of the Julian ancient people's formation. Behind him, the shape of a new moon appeared again. As soon as he finished speaking, the people around him nodded respectfully. The shadows of the 9 moons hung down from the top of the mountain. Qing Xian appeared on a full moon platform under the shadows of the 9 moons with a pale face. She held a dagger tightly in her right hand. Rumble. The moment the shadows of the 9 moons hung down, the Julian ancient people suddenly felt dizzy. The Great Protective Array around them flickered incessantly. After a few breaths, the entire formation dissipated. Long Chen's figure slowly walked out of the darkness. He was standing at the edge of the Julian ancient people's formation. "Qing Xian, I'm here to pick you up." Long Chen held a long sword in his hand. His voice spread out and covered the entire Julian ancient people with his divine consciousness. Under the shadows of the 9 moons, Qing Xian suddenly let go of the dagger in her hand. Her pale face was instantly filled with excitement. For a moment, tears rolled down her face like raindrops. "Take this pill, and I'll take you away." Just as she was crying, a late-stage human king Dark Star assassin appeared out of thin air in front of her from the shadows of the moon. Qing Xian did not react at all. A pill was tossed into her mouth. Then, the black shadow grabbed her and quickly took her away from the Julian ancient people. Swoosh. 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 At the same time, Dark Star assassins began to appear from the shadows in all directions. For a moment, The Juin ancient people screamed incessantly. The divine light of swords and sabers soared into the sky. Zhu Yinzhong could not help but exclaim as he looked at the Dark Star assassins in all directions. What profound attainments and formations! The Juin ancient people's formations have long been broken. There are so many Dark Star assassins hidden in the clan. Don't worry about the Dark Star assassins. Kill that man. And Qing Xian, don't let them take her away, Zhu Yinzhong ordered. As his voice fell, the human emperors of the various clans leaped out in unison. Bang! The late-stage human king Dark Star assassin with Qing Xian was instantly shattered by a sword ray. Even his spirit did not escape. The speed of the three Renhuangs had reached an appalling level. Not only that, but wherever these human emperors passed, the human kings of the Dark Star organization had nowhere to hide. As soon as they appeared, they were instantly killed by the powerful nomological power. Just as Qing Xian was about to be captured again, a figure walked out from the shadows behind her. This person was Long Chun. "Get out of my way!" Long Chun roared. Light shot out from his body, and the long sword and scabbard in his hand suddenly exploded. The 3,000 Great Path precepts turned into countless threads that gathered on the long sword in his hand. The three human emperors suddenly froze as they stared at this scene in horror. How many types of nomological power is this? Who is this person? Long Chun blocked the attack of the three human emperors. They were so shocked that they did not launch a second attack immediately. Puffed. On the other side, Long Chin's flesh cracked, and he spat out several mouthfuls of blood. However, he held Qing Xian tightly in his arms and used the recoil to escape. The attack of the three human emperors was too terrifying. Long Chun was already seriously injured by this attack. If the three of them had not used their full strength, his physical body would have been shattered in an instant. "Young master," Qing Xian sobbed in Long Chen's arms. She hugged him tightly with both hands, as if she was afraid that Long Chun would disappear if she let go. Long Chun did not even turn his head as he continued to run madly outside. He knew that, with his current combat strength, it would be too difficult for him to escape safely if he was surrounded by the human emperors. Countless Dark Star assassins rushed toward Long Chun. One by one, the human emperors rushed toward him. Rumble! A beam of blood-red light blotted out the sky, causing everyone to turn sluggish. A Dark Star assassin destroyed the physical body of a Run Huang with just 3 strikes of his sword. Chapter 371. A frenzied battle streaks of blood-red light appeared one after another. Countless Juin ancient people trembled and retreated to the depths of the clan, unwilling to participate in the battle. No one had expected that things would turn out like this today. Several Renhuangs had appeared among the Dark Star assassins, and each of them had killed a person of the same level as them. The attacks of these Renhuangs were extremely frightening. One strike to the dantian, one to the head, and one to the body. The 3 strikes were clean and tidy. Anyone who was hit by the first strike had their dantian shattered, and their cultivation was unstable. Their bodies were destroyed in an instant. Under the blood-written kill order, the Dark Star assassins within a radius of 100,000 miles would continuously come to Long Chun at Long Chen's disposal. After a day, the Dark Star assassins who had arrived here were far from reaching their peak. No matter how much killing was happening behind him, Long Chun had no intention of turning back. His only goal this time was to take away Qing Xian. Whoosh! However, before the two of them could run more than 10,000 meters, the space in front of them was torn apart, and 3 Renhuangs walked out. The 3 of them had used some kind of ritual implement to forcibly tear apart space and block the 2 of them. Zhu Yinzhong had somehow passed through the encirclement of the Dark Star organization. The crescent moon behind Zhu Yinzhong spun like a wheel, and the light around him was like a waterfall. His alchemy skills can only fool the ancient alchemy lord. His attainments in formations can break the formation of the Juin ancient people overnight. His combat power is so strong that he can survive 3 Renhuangs with 1 strike. Zhu Yinzhong walked step by step toward Long Chun, as if he did not care about the deaths of the Juin ancient people and the various ancient clans behind him. Instead, he looked at Long Chun with a burning gaze. Han Luo, this person's attack contained the power of rules that we have never heard of before. This person must not be left alive, or else he will be a big problem in the future. The three Renhuangs instantly sealed off Long Chen's surroundings. They all knew that although the person in front of them was Zhu Yinzhong of the Juin ancient people, he was actually Han Luo of the Bright Moon ancient clan. Han Luo stared at Long Chun and murmured, "Let me plant the moon seed, and I will give Qing Xian to you." Long Chen's eyes suddenly became extremely cold, as if he had seen an idiot. The long sword in his hand slashed out with a cold gleam, which was filled with countless water-type nomological laws. Bang! Under the sword light, countless moon shadows actually appeared around Han Luo, forcefully blocking Long Chen's attack. Very good. Han Luo seemed to be getting with this one. Very. Capture this person and seal his cultivation, but you definitely cannot take his life. I want to plant the moon seed in his body and divine soul, Han Luo ordered. When the three Renhuangs heard this, the long swords in their hands streaked across the sky. Countless coercion and the power of rules instantly blasted toward Long Chun and Qing Xian. Body of the five elements Azure Dragon. Formless sword technique. Third move. Exotic fire beast come out. Long Chun did not hold back in the face of the attacks of the three Renhuangs. 5 colored scales covered his body in an instant. The long sword in his right hand slashed out countless sword rays. The exotic fire beast on his right shoulder leaped out. Streaks of exotic fire swept across 1,000 meters in an instant. Bang! 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 Whoosh! Several mountains in all directions were pulverized with a loud bang, and countless flames burst out in the air out of nowhere. A few late-stage Renhuangs were thousands of meters away. Their bodies were riddled with holes in an instant. The attacks of the three Renhuangs were too terrifying. Whoosh! The ground where Long Chun was caved in for hundreds of meters. Countless rules pulsed like thunder snakes. A gorgeous and dazzling attack was launched. The three Renhuangs saw a look of fear in each other's eyes. Long Chun had actually collided head-on with them again. Was this really just a human king? Perhaps only the heaven-defying Great Path disciples of the 4 one-star ancient clans could do this. Whoosh! The clothes on the chests of the three Renhuangs were torn apart. Bloodstains suddenly appeared. What kind of sword technique did this guy use? And a long sword in his hand. The wounds on the chests of the three Renhuangs were instantly healed. However, they were shocked. Long Chun had not only blocked their attacks, but he had also hit them with his sword. Perhaps this sword was nothing to them. However, under such circumstances, they could see how terrifying Long Chun was. Even Han Luo, who had been controlling Zhu Yinzhong's body, could not help but stare at the 100-meter caved-in ground. A figure leaped out and stood on the ground again. The 3 wounds on his body almost penetrated his body completely. However, his recovery speed was astonishing. He was not weaker than the 3 Renhuangs. Whoosh! Blood flowed out of Long Chen's mouth. He suddenly stared at Zhu Yinzhong and said coldly, "Are you happy watching this?" As his voice fell, his entire person actually turned into a mass of phantoms and drifted away with the wind. When he reappeared, he was standing behind Zhu Yinzhong. Bang! 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 Attacks came one after another. Countless moon shadows appeared around Zhu Yinzhong and blocked Long Chen's attacks. Saint-level defensive martial technique, moon wall technique. Break! Long Chen roared. Countless stars on his long sword gathered crazily at one point. Saint-level technique. Stars break the army. Boom! 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 The moon shadows around Zhu Yinzhong were instantly shattered. He was sent flying tens of thousands of meters away, crashing into more than 10 mountains. The 3 Renhuangs were momentarily stunned. They quickly rushed out again. When Long Chun saw the 3 Renhuangs rushing over, he immediately roared to the sky and said, "Today I want to see if you divine emperors can take me down." Secret technique, heavenly change. Secret technique, 3 pristine chi transforming technique. With Long Chen's roar, his cultivation began to increase at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the blink of an eye, he had reached the 7th level of the Renhuang King realm. Not only that, but his hair suddenly turned into 3 different colors. Then his physical body split into 3. Countless experts had witnessed the great battle, and Long Chen's actions caused everyone to be dumbfounded. The Dark Star organization and the various ancient clans were already in a mess. As long as the people of the Dark Star organization rushed toward Long Chen and the others, they would be stopped by the Renhuangs immediately. The 3 Renhuangs looked at Long Chen and were extremely shocked. Although they could see that Long Chen was using a secret technique, they had never heard of such a secret technique. Saint-level technique, water overturns 1,000 caddies. Saint-level technique, flame pierces the sky. Saint-level technique, purple, gold, 3rd heaven. The power of rules around Long Chen was annihilated. With a roar, his 3 physical bodies moved together without any signs of stagnation. The 3 of them were using sword techniques of completely different attributes. Unfortunately, only one of them had a long sword in his hand. Chapter 372. The battle spirit had returned. Long Chen split into 3 and used 2 secret techniques in a row to fight the 3 Renhuangs. Everyone sighed. However, everyone knew that only the 4 1-star ancient clans or a small number of 2-star ancient clans could defeat a human emperor with the power of a human king. No one below the 3rd rank would be able to survive. Even defying Daozi couldn't do it. For a human king to be able to fight against a human sovereign was already a heaven-defying existence. Wanting to fight against 3 human sovereigns by himself was simply a fool's dream. However, everyone was extremely wary of Long Chen. They felt that the battle prowess he had displayed today was even greater than defying Heaven Daozis. The sword techniques he used were all at the saint level, and they were of a much higher grade than the techniques used by the Renhuangs. Not only that, there was also a movement technique and a defensive martial skill. Every single one of them was a saint-tier martial skill, and the sword in his hand. The 3 Renhuangs seemed to be inexplicably afraid of the long sword in his hand. In the blink of an eye, the battle with the 3 Renhuangs spanned more than 10,000 meters. The ground within 10,000 meters was already riddled with holes, and 100 meters of it had collapsed. Han Luo, who had been watching from afar using Zhu Yinzhong's body, suddenly closed his eyes. The shadow of the crescent moon behind him also disappeared. Meanwhile, inside the Shui clan, the shadow of a moon appeared behind a disciple in front of Venerable Alchemy Gu. After Venerable Gu Alchemy saw this person's transformation, he hurriedly bowed and said, "What instructions does young Master Han Luo have? Think of a way to make Dark Star stop. I remember that you saved a high-ranking member of Dark Star before. Hurry up and contact that person. Ask him to divert the assassins near the Jiuyin ancient people away at all costs. I saw the best body of a moon seed today, yes." Venerable Alchemy Gu hurriedly responded and flew out. The area hundreds of thousands of meters away from the Jiuyin ancient people had turned into a battlefield. There were countless casualties among the Dark Star. Many Renhuangs and Renhuangs from the various ancient clans had died tragically. As for Long Chen, he had already returned to his original appearance and was panting heavily. There were 3 Renhuang cultivators in front of him. 2 of them were condensing their physical bodies. The 3 of them stared at Long Chen as if they were looking at a monster. On the other hand, Long Chen was not in a good condition either. Half of his body was almost reduced to bones, but it was recovering rapidly. "Qing Xian, just you wait. I'll definitely take you away from here today." At this moment, Qing Xian, who was standing in the Dragon Palace in Long Chen's mind, had already burst into tears. It was too difficult for him to fight against 3 Renhuangs by himself. Although the 3 human sovereigns and Long Chen had recovered from their injuries in less than a dozen breaths, they were still seriously injured, and their origin was damaged. The three Renhuangs were about to continue. However, the members of Dark Star actually retreated like the receding tide. Long Chen's face suddenly turned pale, and his heart sank to the bottom. The Renhuangs of the ancient clans and many human kings slowly walked toward Long Chen. The silver-haired Juan ancient people stared at Long Chen and said coldly, "It's all because of you. Today, my 90 giant corpse tribe lost a Ren Huang and thousands of human kings. Do you think you can compete with the Taoist of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan with just a blood kill order? Dream on. This person must be killed today. Otherwise, he will cause endless trouble in the future. His combat strength and methods are too terrifying." The new moon wheel behind Zhu Yinzhong rotated again, and he walked through the crowd to the front. The people around him were extremely respectful. "You've lost. You'd better accept my moon seed," Han Luo said through Zhu Yinzhong's mouth. Long Chen's physical body gradually recovered, and he suddenly stood up with a laugh. Looking at the Renhuangs and countless human kings around him, a hint of madness flashed in his eyes. His eyes stared at Zhu Yinzhong as if he could see through his soul. He looked at Han Luo. "Moonseed, it's a pity that your original body is not here today. However, if I don't die today, it will soon be the end of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan," Long Chen shouted. His entire body rose into the air. Countless people subconsciously took 2 steps back, and even the Renhuangs were no exception. Everyone had seen the battle between Long Chen and the 3 Renhuangs. This was the Waste Realm. Even Renhuangs could not manipulate the rules to fly in the air. However, Long Chen was now in the air. Bloodline Original Body, Firmament Bloodlines Third Dharma Body, 5 Elements Azure Dragon. As Long Chen's voice fell, everyone felt that his words did not sound like human language. Instead, they sounded like the roar of a demonic beast. However, no one knew that this was the roar of a dragon. Buzz. Between heaven and earth, the weather changed. Under the overturned mountains, heavy rain poured down, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. Roar. Long Chen's physical body swelled with the wind. Under the thunder and rain, he turned into a demonic beast, Bloodline Original Body. When one reached the level of a Ren Huang, one could rely on the power of the bloodline to transform into the Bloodline Original Body. What kind of bloodline does this person have? Transforming into the Bloodline Original Body actually caused a vision of heaven and earth, causing mountains and earth to overturn. Is this person really not a heaven-defying path chosen from some ancient clan in the Waste Realm? What kind of bloodline is this? Why have I never seen it before? Above the sky, 5-colored divine light sprinkled down. Countless rules seemed to undulate on the scales. How could they recognize this firmament dragon vein? It was the firmament dragon vein that ranked first on the bloodline Qingyun list. Long Chen's body undulated, and thunder followed him as he moved. Zhu Yinzhong's body instantly turned into powder. The seed of a new moon in his dantian was forcefully shattered. At the same time, Long Chen's 10,000-foot body was about to enter the clouds. However, a full moon appeared on another path chosen from the ancient clan in the crowd. Han Luo's voice sounded again. "If any clan can capture this person today, the Bright Moon Ancient Clan will help him become a 2-star ancient clan within 3 months." The eyes of the path chosen controlled by Han Luo were full of passion and madness. His body could not help but tremble. When the dozens of Renhuangs heard such a promise, many of them directly transformed into their bloodline true forms and soared into the sky. However, these people's bloodline true forms were all flying demonic beasts. Therefore, they could rely on their physical bodies to fly in the air. This was also what surprised them the most. Long Chen's bloodline true form did not have wings. However, he could fly in the air and even mobilize the power of heaven and earth. At the same time, the 3 divine beast war souls also trembled. Their eyes were full of anger. Our master actually used his bloodline true form to restore the body of a real dragon. He is less than 100,000 miles away from here. The three of them were originally moving casually. At this moment, their faces were all gloomy. Then, they instantly disappeared from where they were. Their speed had increased by more than 10 times. Bang! 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 Dozens of Renhuangs transformed into their bloodline true forms and surrounded Long Chun. The thunder in the sky turned into a sea. Clearly, the Renhuangs could not withstand the power of heaven and earth and fell from the sky. However, Long Chun was also entangled. If this continued, he would still be defeated. What is that? Why are there still people coming? Why are they all transforming into their bloodline true forms? Could it be that Han Luo Path Chosen sent people? This is not right. These people don't seem to be from around us. They are two-star ancient clans. Before the crowd could finish their exclamations, Chapter 373. Kill them all. Yazid's face was like a wolf's, and his entire body was as thin as a sharp sword, making people who saw him feel cold. The surrounding members of the various ancient clans turned their heads in unison when they heard this. A Renhuang cultivator sensed the powerful aura around Yazid and hurriedly stepped forward. He clasped his fists and asked, "May I know who your excellency is referring to? Is it Han Luo, the path disciple of the Bright Moon ancient clan?" Han Luo. Scram. Yazid's figure moved, and the black light around him tore the Renhuang in front of him into two halves in the blink of an eye. Yazid's body moved, and the bloodline power around him fluctuated. He instantly transformed into his bloodline main body and soared into the sky. He had the body of a dragon and the head of a wolf. His eyes were like bells. Even a Renhuang would not dare to look him in the eye. The most peculiar thing was that he was holding a sword in his mouth. Wong. Between breaths, the long sword turned into a gust of wind and instantly shot down several Renhuang bloodline bodies in front of him. At the same time, the fat man with the Taodai, fighting soul, finally stopped eating. He stood where he was, and his body swelled crazily to the size of a small hill. Breathe, one by one. The falling Renhuangs were forcefully torn apart and swallowed into his stomach. The surrounding people were inexplicably terrified. They only felt that this fatty's mouth was like an abyss filled with endless danger. In the name of the heavens, I welcome the return of souls. Rumble. Thunder rumbled in the sky, but the dark clouds strangely dispersed, revealing the clear sky. Long Chun transformed into a 10,000 zhang long dragon, as if he was looking down on all living beings. As soon as he finished speaking, the three war souls stopped in their tracks and bowed their heads in respect. Their eyes shone brightly as they shouted at the same time, "We are willing to help our master flatten the universe and achieve great merits. I am willing to help my master flatten the universe and achieve great merit. I am willing to help my master flatten the universe and achieve great merit." The ancients who were surrounding Long Chun from all directions were speechless. One by one, the Renhuang cultivators stood frozen on the spot, trembling. These three cultivators who could tear Renhuangs apart were Long Chun's subordinates. If it were just the three of them, that would have been fine. However, there were still countless ancient race beings in their bloodline true bodies behind them. The soul-devouring wolf beast had a pair of wings on their backs and looked like wolves, but their bodies were covered in stars. The heaven-devouring python clan, which had a pair of wings on its back and was covered in black and white scales. These two ancient clans were the two-star ancient clans, second only to the 4 one-star ancient clans. Why would such an ancient race being return to their place? Could it be because of this young man? Countless people had resentful expressions on their faces. A Taoist with a full moon behind him slowly walked up to the people from the two ancient clans and said in a deep voice, "I'm Han Luo, a Taoist from the Bright Moon ancient clan. May I know why the two ancient clans are here? And why did you send someone to kill the Renhuangs of our subordinate clans?" An old man from the soul-devouring wolf beast clan slowly walked out. His face was covered with star patterns, as if the sun and moon were alternating. He stared at the new moon behind Han Luo and said, moon seed technique. Little doll, it's not up to you to say anything about my clan. Bang! As soon as the old man finished speaking, the Taoist who was controlled by Han Luo's moon seed collapsed in an instant. Even his divine soul directly turned into green smoke. Why is my clan here? The person holding the sword is the clan leader of the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan. The old man snorted coldly and looked around. The surrounding Renhuangs felt their backs drenched in cold sweat. The skinny man who had just torn the Renhuangs apart was the clan leader of the two-star ancient clan, the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan. In the sky, Long Chen's bloodline body disappeared and slowly landed on the ground. In the sky, the Renhuangs who had transformed into bloodline body to chase after him were killed by Yazi and the other two in just 10 breaths. Kill them all. Long Chen stared at the various ancient clans who had come because of Han Luo from the Bright Moon clan and said coldly, "Yes, sir." The Taodai fighting soul and the Yazi fighting soul leaped out and said to the two clans behind them, "Go. Why are you standing there? Didn't you hear what our master said? Kill all the human kings and Renhuangs here and destroy their divine souls." The people from the two clans hurriedly took action and howled in pain. Long Chun turned a deaf ear to all of this. He stared at the three of them and said, "These are your current bodies? Why are there two-star clans following you?" The Taodai fighting soul swallowed the souls of several Renhuangs that appeared in the right hand of the chubby Taodai fighting soul. Then he stared at Long Chun and said, "Master, we are the divine beast fighting souls, but we also have our original bodies. We did not take over. The sky-devouring Python clan was originally my clan. Now that my true body has been reborn, my consciousness has merged with the divine beast fighting soul." You make it sound nice. Didn't you just dig open someone's coffin and forcefully find the true body of a sky-devouring python? Ha! The woman covered in flames covered her face and chuckled. She was extremely charming. "Master, I am the current clan leader of the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan. Now that I have merged with the divine beast-fighting soul, I am willing to follow you." Long Chun nodded slightly and suddenly understood. These divine beast-fighting souls did not directly take over the bodies of others. Instead, they coexisted with others and even completely merged with their souls. Clan leader. The Taoist of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan would like to speak with this young man. An elder of the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan said respectfully. Yazi shouted coldly, "How dare you? What young man?" From now on, Master is the clan leader of the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan. The elder of the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan stared at Long Chun helplessly. He could not accept it no matter what. The soul-devouring wolf-beast clan was one of the top two-star ancient clans in the Waste Territory. It was second only to the 4 one-star ancient clans. Now, it had to acknowledge a young man from another clan as its clan leader. Long Chun waved his hand and motioned for Yazi to step back. He then said coldly, "Ask Han Luo of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan to come and see me." Yazi turned to the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan and shouted, "Didn't you hear what Master said? Bring him here." A young Taoist with the shadow of a moon on his back slowly walked over to Long Chun. He sneered and said, "If you want that woman from the Joian ancient people to live, I will wait for you in the Bright Moon Ancient Clan." Bang. After this Taoist finished speaking, his body suddenly exploded. He had actually self-destructed. Long Chun stared at the void with an extremely ugly expression. He waved his hand and released Qing Xian from the Dragon Palace. The moment Qing Xian appeared, she threw herself into Long Chen's arms again. Long Chen also hugged her tightly. However, Long Chen's face gradually became as gloomy as ice. Although the moon seed in Qing Xian's body had disappeared, one of her 3 spiritual souls and 7 physical souls was missing. Han Luo, the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. Just you wait. Long Chun said coldly to himself. Qing Xian did not seem to feel anything. She did not even know that one of her spiritual souls was missing. She choked and said, Qing Xian knew that young master would definitely come. He would definitely come back. Long Chun gently stroked Qing Xian's hair and pulled her behind him. The Kirin girl at the side frowned and walked to Long Chun. She said, "Our current strength is not enough to fight against the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. Master, don't be rash." Long Chun nodded slightly and walked toward the Juin Ancient People. The remaining higher-ups of the Juin Ancient People hurriedly went to welcome them. They were already trembling behind Long Chun. Chapter 374. The Danger of the Clan. Long Chun said, "Qing Xian is a member of the Juin Ancient People after all. I won't touch your clan. However, you better answer my question honestly. Where is Alchemy Venerable Gu now?" The higher-ups of the Juin Ancient People did not dare to hide anything. They immediately replied, "The Xie clan is at the Xie clan." Hearing the name of the Xie clan, Long Chun frowned slightly. He immediately said to Yazi and the other two behind him, "Follow me to the Xie clan." Yazi, Tao Tai, and the Kirin woman naturally followed Long Chun closely. As divine beast-fighting souls, they were absolutely loyal to Long Chun. However, the soul-devouring wolf beast clan and the other clan did not show any respect to him. Seeing Long Chun leading the three of them to the Xie clan, the higher-ups of the two-star ancient clans were helpless. However, they still followed closely behind him. At the Xie clan, after Alchemy Venerable Gu finally found the higher-ups of the Dark Star organization and summoned them back, he had been staying at the Xie clan. "The moon seeds in your bodies are about to reach perfection. Take this elixir," Alchemy Venerable Gu said to the two Taoists of the Xie clan. Rumble. Just as he finished speaking, a loud noise came from outside. Alchemy Venerable Gu and the other two human emperors of the Xie clan immediately rushed out. However, when they saw the densely packed ancient clans outside the Xie clan, their expressions changed drastically. Long Chun leaped over and walked in front of Alchemy Venerable Gu. He said coldly, "Tell me why Qing Xian is missing his soul." Alchemy Venerable Gu was stunned when he saw Long Chun. He muttered, "You are the one who pretended to be Lord Song that day?" Long Chun's expression suddenly turned cold. He said, "Let me ask you, why did Han Luo take Qing Xian's soul?" As his voice fell, Yazi and Tao Tai immediately rushed out from his side and directly restrained Lord Gu Alchemy. Venerable Gu Dan's complexion changed. He stared at Yazi and said, "You are the patriarch of the soul-devouring wolf beast clan. How can you listen to a youngster's words? I am the Alchemist Guild's god-ranked alchemist. Destroy his body for me," Long Chun said in a deep voice. Bang! Yazi didn't even think about Long Chun's words. The expressions of the soul-devouring wolf beast clan and the other ancient clan's upper echelon changed. That was a divine-level alchemist, yet he was killed just like that. At that time, if the Alchemist Guild came, both their clans would be implicated. Unfortunately, before they could step forward to stop them, Senior Alchemy's gentle voice was forcefully shattered by the two of them. When the two Renhuangs behind the ancient clan of the Shui clan saw this scene, their eyes were filled with fear. Seeing Venerable Gu Alchemy's divine soul fly out, Long Chun's right hand reached out and grabbed it tightly. His divine sense, as vast as the sea, instantly riddled Venerable Gu Alchemy's divine soul with holes. Venerable Gu Alchemy's divine soul let out a shrill cry. That divine soul was obtained by the Juin Ancient People. The Juin Ancient People believed in the divine beast, the Candle Dragon. Every member of the clan would place a wisp of their divine soul on the sacrificial altar. Han Luo took a fancy to Qing Xian's pure Nining body. Therefore, he took this soul away long ago. He wanted to complete her divine soul on the day of the wedding so that he could absorb the pure Yin Qi in her body. Bang! The moment Venerable Gu Alchemy finished speaking, Long Chun directly destroyed his divine soul. The anger in his heart had already reached its peak. Upon hearing this, Qing Xian's face suddenly turned pale. Long Chun was silent. Han Luo was definitely not a kind person. Now that he had obtained a wisp of Qing Xian's divine soul, if he used any other means, the consequences would be unimaginable. Haha. Just as Long Chun was silent, a young king from the ancient clan of the Shui clan slowly walked out from the crowd. Behind this person was the shadow of the moon wheel. This person was another person who had been implanted with the moon seed. He stared at Long Chun and said, "If you don't come to the Bright Moon ancient clan within 3 months, there will be no way to save her." As Han Luo finished speaking, Qing Xian's entire body could not help but tremble. Then, all the blood in her body seemed to have disappeared. She was as pale as a sheet of paper. Plop! Qing Xian's entire body fell to the ground, and she actually fainted. Bang! Long Chun directly killed this young disciple with a punch. His entire body moved without wind. A terrifying aura spread out from his body. The pressure of his divine consciousness caused many Ren Huangs around him to involuntarily retreat. Long Chun stared at the ancient clan of the Shui clan and said, "Kill all the people who have the moon seed. Since you wanted to go to the Bright Moon ancient clan, I will go. When I arrive, it will be the day of the Bright Moon ancient clan's annihilation." Yazi and Tao Tai immediately gave the order. Immediately, although the two-star ancient clan's higher-ups were unwilling, they still dispersed. They went to the various ancient clans to kill the people who had the moon seed. Long Chun put Qing Xian into the Dragon Palace again and said gently, "Don't worry, nothing will happen." After a long while, Yazi walked to Long Chun and said, "There are only 2 Ren Huangs in the ancient clan of the Shui clan. The other 2 have gone to the North region. Should we eliminate this clan as well?" Upon hearing this, Long Chun's expression changed again. He said to the 3 of them, "The 3 of you, follow me to the North region. Leave no one above the ancient clan of the Shui clan alive." The Tao Tai fighting soul and Yazi fighting soul quickly gave the order and left with Long Chun in a hurry. On the way to the North region from the Waste region, Jianshi San was struggling. Long Chun ordered him to return to the North region, but he went to the join ancient people alone. He could not let go of this matter. However, after walking for a short while, he felt 2 strong auras behind him. It was impossible to tear the space between the Waste region and the North region. Jianshi San could see clearly that these 2 were the 2 Ren Huangs of the Shui clan. Jianshi San's heart sank. He avoided the 2 and ran quickly. He wanted to return to the North region to inform the Tsangji clan. Time flew. When Jianshi San returned to the Tsangji clan, the 2 Ren Huangs arrived almost immediately. Fortunately, Jianshi San arrived first. Yi Hailon was the first to activate the formation left by Long Chun. This formation was connected to the sacred mountain. Even the Ren Huangs could not do anything about it. This is the place. We can't believe what we've seen and heard along the way. The Green Soul Vine clan and the Divine Wolf clan are all gone, leaving behind this Tsangji clan. One of the human emperors was surprised. It said that the person who killed our Taoist was younger than the 2 of them. This Tsangji clan was established by that boy. The other Ren Huangs replied. Bang! Bang! As the 2 spoke, countless attacks fell on the formation. However, their attacks were absorbed by the sacred mountain like clay oxen entering the sea. What's going on? This formation is connected to the sacred mountain of the North region. After a short attack, the 2 Ren Huangs' faces darkened and they stopped attacking. It seems that if we want to destroy this clan, we can only wait until the sacred mountain opens. However, I've heard that the boy came from the north of the North region. His name is Long Chun. He killed our Taoist. Today, we'll destroy his entire clan. Chapter 375. Empty Tomb. Long Chun took the 3 divine beast battle souls and left the Waste region, heading towards the North region. In the Waste region, the soul-devouring wolf beast and the 2-star ancient clan had not been able to eat or sleep well during this period of time. In the end, after eliminating all the people who had the moon seed, they also set off for the North region. Ever since the clan had merged with that divine beast battle soul, his cultivation has increased tremendously. He has also inherited countless spells. If we develop normally, our clan will become a 1-star ancient clan in less than 10 years, But why does he insist on serving that young man as his master now? A Ren Wong of the Wolf Beast clan could not help but shout. The members of the God-devouring Python clan also frowned and said in a deep voice, "At worst, you could just choose another clan, but our clan is completely different. That person is the bloodline true body of our ancestor. Not only has he been reborn, but his cultivation base has also increased explosively. The true body of the God-Eater Demon Python represents my entire family. If we betray him, he can take away the power of our bloodline in an instant." The people from the two ancient clans had ugly expressions on their faces. However, it was not because of the Taodai fighting soul or the Yazi fighting soul, but because of Long Chun. In their opinion, Long Chun's cultivation was at most that of a Taoist. Although his bloodline true body seemed to be somewhat strange, they had never seen it before. It was impossible for the two ancient clans to serve a young brat as their master. When we head to the northern region this time, we'll think of a way to make that kid back off in the face of difficulties. Otherwise, we'll think of a way to do it without anyone knowing, an elder of the soul-devouring Wolf Beast clan said coldly. On the other side, after arriving at the northern region, Long Chun continuously tore through space and quickly arrived at the foot of the sacred mountain. Seeing that the divine mountain was fine, he let out a long sigh of relief. Yi Hailan, Jian Shisan, and Hun Qianfan hurriedly walked out. Jian Shisan said excitedly, "Master, you actually managed to leave the Juing ancient people safely. Who are the three people behind you?" Now is not the time to talk about this. The two Ren Huangs seemed to be heading north of the northern region. They said that they wanted to exterminate your clan. Yi Hailan interrupted. Long Chen's face was filled with ferocity. He tore the space apart and left without any hesitation. The three divine beast war souls behind him followed closely behind. Hun Qianfan frowned deeply and said in a low voice, The three people behind the patriarch seemed to be Ren Huang realm experts as well. The people around them all gasped. Ren Huang cultivators were considered invincible in the northern region, but now they were coming one after another. After Jian Shisan and Yi Hailan looked at each other and gave some instructions, they followed Long Chun and others. They followed the fluctuation of the space they tore and headed north of the northern region. North of the northern region, the northern border of the Black Dragon Empire. At this moment, the Long family was facing its doomsday. In fact, it wasn't just the Long family. The entire Black Dragon Empire was in complete chaos. The two old men hovering in the air smashed countless cities with several mountains in the blink of an eye. They even used their powers of laws to capture countless people. They also found the location of a Long family. You're from the Long family? Such an ant-like family could produce someone who could kill our path chosen. It's unbelievable. I don't know where that kid went. Refine all these Long family members and spread the word with the power of the formation. Force them to come. As soon as they finished speaking, they waved their hands and 4 formation flags appeared. As soon as the formation flags fell, the entire Long family turned into a bloody glow. Bang, bang, bang. As the formation flags fell, the bodies of the Long family members shriveled at a speed visible to the naked eye. How dare you? Bang, bang, bang. As soon as the two of them finished their actions, the space behind them suddenly tore open. Long Chun slashed with his long sword. Countless powers of laws poured out, and the power of his sword technique was pushed to the limit. The two Ren Huang cultivators were forced to retreat several steps. Then, the 3 divine beast war souls and Yi Hailan appeared. Chun, you're back. As soon as Long Chun appeared, Long Tianqing couldn't help but cry out. His voice was trembling, but his body seemed to have lost all blood. Long Chun moved and appeared in front of him. His eyes were bloodshot. He turned around and said to the 3 divine beast war souls, "Take out their divine souls. I want them to never be reincarnated." The 2 Shui family Ren Huang cultivators retreated hurriedly. At the same time, they raised their swords to counterattack. They shouted, "We're from the 3-star Shui family of the Waste region. We're also affiliated with the Hao Yue family. Don't make a mistake." The Shui family? At this moment, I'm afraid all the people above the human king level in your family have been killed. You two should join them soon. Yazzie transformed into his bloodline and soared into the sky. The two Shuef family Ranhuang cultivators' faces changed color when they heard this. Unfortunately, under the attack of the three divine beast war souls, their bodies were smashed into pieces in just a dozen breaths. Long Chun captured the two divine souls. His right hand quickly checked Long Tianqing's body. After a while, he found that Long Tianqing was only severely lacking in blood and was fine. However, if he had come a little later, the entire Long family would have suffered countless casualties. Father, don't stay here any longer. Bring your family and follow me to the northern region of the ancient Desolation Land. You'll be safe there, Long Chun said. Long Tianqing stared at Long Chun and nodded repeatedly. He was like a loving father who hadn't seen his son for a long time. Long Chun waved his hand and threw out countless elixirs, indicating for everyone to take them. However, when he spread out his divine thought, his heart skipped a beat. He stared at Long Tianqing and asked, Father, where's Mother? Why can't I see her? She's dead. Long Tianqing's face suddenly trembled as he said, Ding ding. Long Chen's face suddenly turned pale. He couldn't help but step back and said hoarsely, How is it possible? How did she die? How did she die? The various great elders of the Long family all tested their bodies. Their faces were ashen, while his father pulled him far away. Soon, Long Chen saw a mausoleum. This is your mother's mausoleum. She wasn't killed by others. She died of illness. Therefore, you don't have to take revenge on anyone, Long Tianqing said in a low voice. Chapter 376. The Agreement Empty Tomb. Long Chun stood where he was, and he could clearly see the change in Long Tianqing's expression with his divine sense. Long Chun said in a deep voice, Father, if you have anything to say, you can tell me directly. As soon as his words fell, Long Chen's fingertips struck out with the power of law, and the entire tomb collapsed, revealing an empty coffin. Long Tianqing looked at Long Chun with a wry smile and said, Chen I can't see through your cultivation anymore, but neither your mother nor I want you to seek revenge. That person is too strong. As soon as Long Tianqing's voice fell, Long Chun seemed to have discovered something, and he directly stood on top of the empty coffin. After a long while, a ray of light appeared in Long Chen's hand. This ray of light didn't seem to belong to this space. Long Chun took a deep breath, and his eyes suddenly flashed with a flash of light. He said in a deep voice, Father, there's no need to say more. I know who took Mother away. Father, don't worry. That person wants me, not Mother. With his cultivation, he won't kill Mother. What he wants is to give me another obsession and a chance to make use of me. Long Tianqing couldn't understand Long Chen's words at all. The three mythological beast war souls who followed closely behind frowned when they saw the ray of light in Long Chen's hand. The Kirin girl came forward and said in a deep voice, Master, this seems to be the aura of the heavenly domain. Long Chen nodded slightly and said, If I'm not wrong, this is just a trap. When he felt the aura of the heavenly domain from the clothes in the coffin, he already understood. A powerhouse from the heavenly domain actually came here to take his mother away. If it was in his previous life, he would definitely be unable to restrain his anger and turn it into an obsession. But in this life, he was very calm. Because he understood this method too well, the aura of the heavenly domain came from the 10th heaven. If Long Chen's guess was right, after he went to the 10th heaven to save his mother, it would be the day when a transcendent ruler appeared to take him in as a disciple. Everything that had happened in the past seemed to be happening again today. In my previous life, I was schemed against by you at every turn. To be able to reach sovereign realm within 300 years, I'm afraid that your shadow can be found everywhere. In this life, I will make you suffer a crushing defeat. Long Chun muttered to himself. Long Chun clearly remembered that in his previous life, when he became the disciple of a transcendent ruler, he was captured in Ao Sancheon. When Long Chun was rescued, he stepped into the ruler realm and became enemies with several ruler realm experts. The transcendent ruler realm expert coincidentally appeared and gave him advice. Long Chun could still vividly remember the sage-like, lofty, and refined feeling. In this life, Long Chen's rise to power made the transcendent ruler take notice of his great emperor's body. However, he still used the same method. But this time, his pawn was Long Chen's mother, Whoosh. Long Chun heaved a sigh of relief. He knew that his mother would be fine for the time being. This was only a trap that wanted Long Chun to grow quickly and control him. Long Chun walked to Long Tianqing's side and said, "Father, after today, I don't know when we will meet again. However, I promise you that I will bring my mother back safe and sound." Long Tianqing's rough hand slowly caressed Long Chen's cheek. He did not know when the son he once wanted to protect had become strong enough to hold up the sky. Chun, remember, whether it is your mother or me, our greatest wish is for you to live. Long Tianqing stared into Long Chen's eyes and said in a deep voice. Long Chen knew that his father's words meant that he should prioritize himself and not give up his life for his mother. The sun rose and set. It was the third day. The two ancient clans followed the auras of the Yazi fighting soul and the Taodai fighting soul to the north of the North region. The two-star ancient clans had already discussed this along the way. No matter what, they had to think of a way to make Long Chun retreat. The Taodai fighting soul and the Yazi fighting soul were the clan leader and ancestor respectively. The two of them were related to the future of the two ancient clans. How could these people sit back and watch the two ancient clans worship a young man? It was even more impossible for them to hand over the fate of their clans. The three human emperors from the soul-devouring wolf clan looked at each other. They walked toward the Yazi fighting soul and tried to persuade it. However, the Yazi fighting soul spoke first. "The three of you will protect this clan from now on." The words that the three human emperors of the soul-devouring wolf beast clan were about to say were choked in their mouths. One of them could not help but cry out, "Clan leader, you can't do this. Although that young man is talented, he is still a young man. Do you really want to hand over the fate of our clan to him?" Bang! As soon as this person finished speaking, the elder was slapped 10,000 meters away by the Yazi fighting soul. The Yazi fighting soul said coldly, as the clan leader of the soul-devouring wolf clan, "Do you think I will harm my clan? Your sights are only set on the ancient land and competing with the four great one-star ancient clans. You are too short-sighted. If you follow me, you could become a one-star ancient clan in a short time. However, it is impossible for you to reach the upper heaven region," the Yazi fighting soul said. The human emperors from the soul-devouring wolf clan looked at each other. A few human emperors could not help but step forward and ask, "Clan leader, what do you mean? Can that young man lead our clan to the upper heaven region, where no one has been able to set foot in for thousands of years?" Enough! At this moment, Long Chun came in front of everyone. The Yazi fighting soul immediately bowed and stood aside. He glared at the human emperors from his clan. Long Chun stood in front of the human emperors from the two clans and said, "Give me a month. If I can't reach the human emperor realm, all of you can leave." As soon as Long Chun said this, the people from the two ancient clans were in an uproar. The human emperors in front could not help but step forward and ask, "Are you serious? If I'm not wrong, you're only at the early stage of the human king realm." These people knew that Long Chun was only at the early stage of the human king realm. They had also seen Long Chen's battle with the Joian ancient people and knew a lot about his talent. However, his potential and talent were only comparable to Nitian Daozi's. Even so, it was impossible for him to reach the human emperor realm in a month. If Long Chun really had such ability, they would be convinced. Of course, Long Chun replied calmly. The human emperors from the two clans could not help but laugh and say, "So what if our two clans follow you for a month? However, if you have not reached the human emperor realm, please return our freedom." Long Chun nodded in agreement. The Yazi fighting soul and the Taodai fighting soul looked terrible. They bowed to Long Chun and said, "Master, you don't have to do this. It is our fault. Give us a few days, and we will make them obedient." Chapter 377. Qing Xian's opportunity. Long Chun made an agreement with the two great clans and led the entire Long clan to the northern region. In comparison, the land of the Sangji clan was much safer with the Divine Mountain as the foundation. After arriving in the northern region, Long Chun settled everyone in the Sangji clan. At this moment, the number of human kings in the Sangji clan had far exceeded the number when Long Chun went to the Waste region. After settling down, Long Chun ordered 3 human emperors to guard this place and handed over the entire Sangji clan's formation to his father, Long Tianxing. Even the Void Throne was given to him. Only then did he feel at ease to deploy and leave the northern region. Hun Qianfan and many other members of the vassal ancient clans were excited. They still remembered Long Chen's promise. He would lead them to the Waste region. Seeing that the ancient clans below 4-star in the northern region trusted Long Chun so much, the 2-star ancient clans were confused. They didn't know why these people had so much confidence in a young man. Many of them didn't even seem surprised when they heard that he would reach the human emperor realm within a month. This was really strange. Everything was ready. Long Chun bade farewell to Long Tianxing. Only the disciples of the Long clan were left in the Sangji clan. However, the formation here was enough to ensure their safety in the northern region. Moreover, there were 3 human emperors left to guard this place. Long Chun led the Jian San, Yi Hailon, Qing Xian, and the other ancient clans on the journey to the Waste region. The large group headed to the Waste region, riding demonic beasts. Although they weren't as fast as Long Chun and the others, they still weren't slow. When everyone arrived at the Waste region, they were all excited. Long Chun said in a low voice, "Let's go to the Juin ancient people first." Qing Xian, who had been following Long Chun, heard that he was going to the Juin ancient people. Qing Xian couldn't help but say, "Young master, the Juin ancient people weren't like this originally. Everything started to change after the Taoist of the Haoyue ancient clan came. I hope you won't be angry with the Juin ancient people." Long Chun shook his head and said with a smile, "The Juin ancient people are your family. I'm not here to avenge you, but to obtain a great opportunity for you." Ever since Long Chen's battle with the human emperors, the Juin ancient people had almost all lived in the Juin ancient people. The Juin ancient people was the Juin ancient people's world, was the Sangji clan's ancient Juin, the ancient clan. When Long Chun and the others approached, the higher-ups of the Juin ancient people all came out to welcome them. Looking at the human emperors behind Long Chun, the higher-ups of the Juin ancient people all had bitter expressions on their faces. Qing Xian had said that a man named Long Chun would come to find her, and now they really saw him. Under the leadership of the Juin ancient people, Long Chun, the 3 divine beast war souls, Qing Xian, Jin San, and the others entered the Juin ancient people. "Take me to the place of worship." The place of worship was below the Juin ancient people. The dark cave was tens of thousands of meters wide, and in the center was a circular altar. Around the altar, talisman jars were neatly arranged. Inside them were the souls of the Juin ancient people. Every member of the Juin giant corpse tribe left a soul here to worship. Because of this, one of Qing Xian's souls was taken away by Han Luo of the Haoyue ancient clan. "Young master, this place is the place of worship of the Juin ancient people for generations. There is nothing else here," Qing Xian said doubtfully. Jian San and Yi Hailon were also puzzled. They did not know why Long Chun had come here. On the other hand, Yi and the other 2 looked enlightened. The Kirin woman said, "This is the place of opportunity for you. It seems that the Juin ancient people are quite ambitious. I'm afraid that the bloodline of the Juin ancient people was originally of a very low grade. Being a 7-star ancient clan was already their limit. Now, the Juin ancient people are 3-star ancient clans. 90% of the reason is because of this altar." Long Chen said calmly. Long Chen stared at Qing Xian and said with a smile, "If Han Luo hadn't come, I'm afraid that your father would have already given this opportunity to you. With this place, you would have completely become the bloodline of the Candle Dragon." The expressions of the Zhouyin ancient people changed drastically. However, when they heard that Long Chen intended to give the opportunity here to Qing Xian, they all sighed in relief. Although the Zhouyin ancient people worshipped the Candle Dragon, their bloodline was actually the bloodline of the chilling frost beast. As Long Chen said, this bloodline was not of a high grade, and their achievements were limited. The reason why the Zhouyin ancient people were able to achieve what they had today, and why their bloodline power was constantly improving, was because of the altar worship method passed down from generation to generation by the Zhouyin ancient people. The bloodline of the chilling frost beast was coincidentally similar to the bloodline of the Candle Dragon. Long Chen slowly walked to the center of the altar. His right hand continuously drew in the air. Soon after, a ray of dragon essence shot out from the tip of his right hand and landed on a winding pattern in the center of the altar. Buzz! An almost inaudible sound spread out. The spot where Long Chen's dragon essence landed on the altar suddenly glowed with divine light. Under the divine light, a strange demonic beast with a human face and a snake's body appeared. Its mouth held a candle flame, and its eyes were black and white. Plop! The moment the demonic beast appeared, the people wearing the Candle Dragon's ancient clothes all knelt on the ground. For generations, the Zhouyin ancient people called themselves the Candle Dragon's clan. However, they had never seen the Candle Dragon's true form. To them, the Candle Dragon was not the source of their power. It was more of a spiritual belief. When they saw the appearance of the Candle Dragon, the three divine beast battle souls revealed a solemn expression. "Master, we have seen the Candle Dragon in our previous life. When this beast is at its peak, it is not weaker than our divine beast battle souls," Yi said in a deep voice. Long Chen nodded and said, "The peak of the laws of the sun and moon is seen as day, sleeping as night, blowing as winter, and calling as summer. This is the Candle Dragon. To Qing Xian, this is a heaven-defying opportunity. It is also a help for us to go to the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. It can also prevent Han Luo from doing anything to that wisp of soul." Long Chen, who had the heavenly dragon vein, knew a lot about the Candle Dragon. This beast had appeared in ancient times. Its eyes could change the sun and moon and the four seasons. It was innately close to the laws of the sun and moon. No one could compare to it. Long Chen gestured for Qing Xian to walk over and stand under the Candle Dragon's divine light. "Merge!" With Long Chen's command, the five-color dragon essence around him was activated. The power of the five elements heavenly dragon was unleashed to the extreme. This wisp of the Candle Dragon's soul was born from generations of worship by the Zhouyin ancient people. It did not have any divine consciousness at all. Long Chen used the heavenly dragon vein to suppress it and directly blasted it into Qing Xian's body. Qing Xian's nining body was extremely pure. The moment the Candle Dragon's soul entered, it disappeared without a trace. Qing Xian's eyes suddenly turned black and white. Then he sat cross-legged on the altar. Long Chen gestured for everyone to leave. Chapter 378. The soul-devouring wolf beasts continued to report to Yi. It was obvious that the two ancient clans did not care about Long Chen. Yi frowned and said, "For ancient clans of both sexes, Darkstar and the Alchemist Guild, this is going to be troublesome." The higher-ups of the Zhouyin ancient people turned pale when they heard this. They quickly walked toward Long Chen and the rest and said in a trembling voice, "Everyone, please leave the Zhouyin ancient people quickly. Don't bring disaster to our clan." The ancient clans knew that the 4 two-star ancient clans were under the orders of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan. The Alchemist Guild was there because of the death of Venerable Alchemy Gu. The Darkstar was there because of the blood-written kill order. With such a force, even the 1-star ancient clans would have to treat them well, let alone the Juin ancient people. The Kirin girl walked toward Long Chun and said, "These people are not friendly. If it's just one group, we can deal with them." But before she could finish her sentence, Long Chun waved his hands and said, "It's okay. We'll just wait for them here." TSK. Long Chen's indifferent expression immediately caused the people from the two ancient clans to snicker. If it weren't for Yazi and Tao Tai's murderous gazes, they probably would have mocked him long ago. These were 4 two-star ancient clans. Even if the two ancient clans attacked, they would not be able to gain much of an advantage. Furthermore, there were 2 other powerful forces in the wilderness. Cough. The 2 ancient clan elders quickly corrected themselves and said, "Since that's the case, we'll wait and see." Everyone's eyes were filled with disdain. They were obviously waiting to see Long Chen suffer. Long Chen did not care. He did not even have the intention to leave the Juin ancient people. After a long time, there was a commotion outside the Juin ancient people. 2-star ancient clan, Snow Beast clan. "Please come and meet us, Long Chun." 2-star ancient clan, Eagle clan. "We're here in the name of the Bright Moon ancient clan." 2-star ancient clan, 2-star. The 4 voices were like the roars of demonic beasts, shaking the surroundings and piercing through the clouds. The people who spoke were all Renhuangs. They stood in front of the various ancient clans, and their eyes were full of ferocity. His thunderous voice carried boundless pressure and instantly spread throughout the Juin ancient people. The Juin ancient people were terrified. If the 4 two-star ancient clans really attacked, they could destroy the Juin ancient people in an instant. The higher-ups of the Juin ancient people, as well as the remaining Renhuangs, looked at each other. Eventually, their eyes fell on Long Chun. "Since you have made such a solemn vow, why don't you go out now?" Although the human emperor of Juin ancient people was inexplicably afraid of Tao Tai, Yazi, and the others, since Long Chun had just boasted, he naturally had to push him out. The soul-devouring wolf beast and the other 2 ancient clans glanced at Long Chun and pretended to be respectful. "Since my master has a card up his sleeve, let's go out now." Long Chun took a deep look at everyone. He knew that these people would be a great help to him. If he used them well, he could speed up the process of dominating the Waste Realm. Moreover, when he stepped into the Heaven Realm, he could have an extremely powerful team. However, if he wanted to make these people submit to him wholeheartedly, it was absolutely impossible to rely on the identities of Yazi and Tao Tai to suppress them. Under everyone's gaze, Long Chen moved and wanted to walk out of the Juin ancient people. Yi Hailan and Jin Shursan followed closely behind. Yazi and Tao Tai stared at their respective ancient clans behind them, snorted coldly, and followed. Outside, the Juin ancient people. As soon as Long Chun appeared, the 4 two-star ancient clans' human emperors were stunned. One of them asked disdainfully, "Are you Long Chun, the one who caused the deaths of many 3-star ancient clans' human emperors of the Haoyue ancient clan?" Ridiculous. When did these 3-star ancient clans become so weak that they can't even suppress a young boy? This boy is nothing. But didn't you see the 2 people behind him? No wonder the Shui clan and the ancient clan were removed from the list of ancient clans. It turns out that these 2 clans are also here. The soul-devouring wolf beast clan and the god-devouring demonic python clan. These 2 clans inexplicably abandoned their clans and migrated here. The 4 human emperors' eyes finally fell on Yazi and the Tao Tai fighting soul. As for Long Chun, they only glanced at him and completely forgot about him. "How dare you? If you dare to speak to my master like this again, I will take your life today." Yazi's eyes were like blades, and his voice was cold. At the same time, the Tao Tai behind him also stopped eating, his chest rising and falling. The Kirin woman beside him was also burning with flames. She looked like a god. When the 4 two-star ancient clans heard this, they were all stunned. The leader said in surprise, "A few days ago, I heard that the clan leader of the soul-devouring wolf beast clan's cultivation has increased tremendously. In a short period of time, he will be above the other 2-star ancient clans. Now, it seems that he is just SOSO. He is actually willing to recognize a young boy as his master. Haha, this is really funny. Could it be that even the real body of the god-devouring demonic python is the same? Hearing the crowd's sarcasm, the two ancient clans of the soul-devouring wolf-beast clan turned pale. Many of the higher-ups glared at Long Chen's back. In fact, how could they not think the same way? Instead, at this time, Long Chen slowly took a few steps forward. With a smile on his face, he said lightly, "Are you all going to attack together now and eliminate us? If so, you'd better hurry up. Otherwise, the Alchemist Guild and the Dark Star Organization will be here soon." The four two-star ancient clans, the Juin Ancient People, and the soul-devouring Wolf Beast clan all stared at Long Chen as if he was an idiot. They secretly thought that he was simply courting death. For a moment, everyone looked down on him even more. The two ancient clans also put on a defensive posture. They secretly thought that after today, no matter what, they could not continue to be friends with Long Chen. Otherwise, they would be killed by Long Chen sooner or later. The four two-star ancient clans were also stunned. Soon after, their faces turned cold. They said in a low voice, "With the strength of the four ancient clans, it will be a little difficult to deal with the two ancient clans of the soul-devouring Wolf Beast clan. However, once the Dark Star Organization and the Alchemist Guild arrive, I'm afraid none of you will be able to survive today. Reckless boy, do you think the ancient clan of the Dark Star will still help you? And the Alchemist Guild, you killed a god-level alchemist. Today is the day you die." Seeing that the four ancient clans had no intention of attacking, Long Chen shook his head and said, "It's fine to kill a god-level alchemist. As for the Dark Star Organization, since I have the blood must-kill order, how do you know that they are not here to help me today?" After Long Chen finished speaking, the people of the various ancient clans were in an uproar. "It's fine to kill a god-level alchemist? Do you think the Alchemist Guild is run by your family? Ignorant boy, do you know what a god-level alchemist means?" Chapter 379. Goodbye, Ao. Sangxiong. The people from the ancient clans could not stop sneering. They felt that Long Chen was extremely arrogant. However, Long Chen remained indifferent. This was because his divine perception had already detected two groups of people flying towards him. Among them was an old friend. Ao, Sangxiong. The ancient clans, who had been making a ruckus, were suddenly on high alert, as if they were facing a great enemy. Ao Sangxiong strode over. Every shadow behind him seemed to be filled with murderous intent. At the same time, to the south of the Juin Ancient People, a group of people wearing golden patterned black robes came riding demonic beasts. The demonic beast's entire body was covered in heavy black iron armor, and its fleshy wings were flashing with the light of spirit stones. Even though it was far away, its ferocious aura made everyone's heart palpitate. When the leader of the four two-star ancient clan saw this, he sneered and said, "Now that the people from the Dark Knight Organization and the Alchemist Guild are here, I would like to see how you're going to deal with this." Everyone stared at Long Chen with a mocking expression. Even the members of the soul-devouring Wolf Beast clan and the other two ancient clans had secretly distanced themselves from Long Chen. On the contrary, Jian Shisan and the others subconsciously moved closer to Long Chen, each of them wearing a solemn expression. The corners of Long Chen's mouth curled into a playful smile. He waved his hand at them and said, "Don't scare yourself." "Men." Sangxiong walked over with a cold expression. He stood beside the four great ancient clans and asked coldly, "What are you doing here?" The four great ancient clans were stunned when they heard this. Soon after, the leader revealed a respectful expression. It was obvious that Ao Sangxiong held a high position in the Dark Star Organization, and they did not dare to provoke the Dark Star Organization. The leader of the Snow Beast clan quickly said, "We are here on the orders of the Bright Moon Ancient clan to kill this person." Humph. However, just as this person finished speaking, Ao Sangxiong's expression suddenly darkened. As he let out a cold snort, many black shadows appeared behind the members of this clan. Many blood-red daggers had already climbed up to their necks. Aside from the Renhuang in the lead, even the cultivators in the late stage of the Renhuang plain behind them did not react at all. They had no time to resist. The face of the leader of the Renhuangs instantly turned gloomy. He said in a deep voice, "What do you mean by this?" Ao Sangxiong didn't seem to hear him. He only shouted, "Who told you to attack? Come back." With Ao Sangxiong's command, the Dark Star assassins disappeared once again. The members of the Snow Beast race and the other three races felt cold sweat drench their backs. This was also the reason why Dark Star was so terrifying. This organization possessed the best assassination techniques in the wasteland. It could be said that they were like the Grim Reaper. When he saw them leave, Sangxiong stared at the leader of the Snow Beast clan once more and said coldly, "I only came here today to see my brother. But if all of you intend to attack, then I'll definitely not stand by idly." Another arrogant brat. If it weren't for your support. Before the person from the ancient Snow Beast clan could finish speaking, he was stopped by a Run Huang from the ancient clan. The man's face was ashen as he whispered, "Do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? This man is the only young master Dark Star, Ao Sangxiong. A few days ago, it was said that he was forcefully thrown into the forbidden area of the Dark Star organization. Now he's already in the top 3 of the 10 heaven-defying Dao children. Are you tired of living?" The leader of the ancient Snow Beast clan, the Run Huang, trembled when he heard that. What heaven-defying paozi? He didn't even care about it. The young master of Dark Star, Ao Sangxiong. Plop! This Run Huang actually knelt on the ground, and then his hands quickly fanned his cheeks. "I was blind to not recognize you. Please forgive me, young master. Please forgive me." Behind Long Chun, many people from the northern region who had followed him here saw this scene, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. On the other hand, the 2 clans of the soul-devouring Wolf Beast clan and the 3 war spirits shook their heads after recovering from their shock. The Dark Star organization only had 1 paozi and 1 young master, and that was Ao Sangxiong. It was rumored that Ao Sangxiong had always been at odds with his father, and he was even unwilling to use the power of the Dark Star organization. However, everyone in the Waste region knew that anyone who dared to touch Ao Sangxiong, regardless of whether they were from a 2-star or a 1-star ancient clan, would definitely not have a good ending. Back then, someone had ridiculed Ao Sangxiong, saying that he was rigid and didn't know how to deal with the world. If it weren't for the protection of the Dark Star organization, he would have died long ago. The person who had said those words back then was a 2-star paozi. It was said that Ao Sangxiong had stood up for a human king and had even fought with that person for a few rounds. In the end, although Ao Sangxiong had won, he had also suffered some minor injuries. After ridiculing Ao Sangxiong, the paozi returned to his clan and found that all the powerhouses above the human king level in his clan had died an unnatural death. Even the human emperor powerhouses were no exception. Now, the human emperor of the Snow Beast clan had long been scared out of his wits. When Ao Sangxiong saw this, he frowned deeply, obviously very displeased. Then, in front of everyone, he slowly walked to Long Chen's side and hammered Long Chen's chest heavily. He smiled and said, "I didn't expect that you and I would meet in the Waste region so soon. A few days ago, when you used the blood-written kill command, I'm really ashamed that I didn't come to help you immediately." When Long Chun saw Ao Sangxiong again, he was in a good mood. He smiled and said, "Long time no see, brother. Your strength has improved a little too quickly. When we're done with this, let's drink to our heart's content." Long Chun had absolute trust in Ao Sangxiong. Although he and Ao Sangxiong did not have a deep relationship in this life, he knew that with Ao Sangxiong's character, since the 2 of them had become sworn brothers, he would protect him with his life. This was Ao Sangxiong. The 2 2-star ancient clans behind Long Chun were dumbfounded. They did not expect Long Chun to have such a relationship with the Dark Star organization. On the contrary, on the other side, the 4 2-star ancient clans sent by the Bright Moon ancient clan had completely ugly expressions. If the Dark Star organization were to take action, the four ancient clans would not dare to do anything. However, this time, Long Chun had caused an uproar among many large clans near the Jiuing ancient people, causing the Bright Moon ancient clan to lose face. If the four ancient clans came here without accomplishing anything, they would inevitably be punished. The higher-ups of the human emperors, who were the leaders of the four ancient clans, finally looked at the people from the Alchemist Guild. Now, the only force that was not afraid of the Dark Star organization was the Alchemist Guild. A divine-level alchemist was an extremely noble existence in the Alchemist Guild. Long Chun had killed a divine-level alchemist, so it was impossible for him to escape unscathed. As long as the Alchemist Guild took action to restrain the Dark Star Ancient Clan, the four ancient clans would be able to severely injure Long Chun and the others. At least, they would be able to make a show of it and report back to their superiors. Chapter 380. Courtesy of Alchemist Guild. When the four two-star ancient clans saw that the Dark Star organization Ao, Sangxiong, and Long Chun were brothers, they could only place their hopes on the Alchemist Guild. However, before he could even get close, he saw the three black-robed old men from the Alchemist Guild leaping out and directly standing in front of Long Chun Whoosh. Seeing the people from the Alchemist Guild dashing out, the people behind Long Chun immediately acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Long Chun stretched out his hand and pressed down slightly, saying, "If my guess isn't wrong, you shouldn't have come here for a divine-level alchemist, right?" The three old men stared at Long Chun and solemnly said, "Since you said so, why don't you accompany us to the Alchemist Guild headquarters?" Long Chun nodded his head and replied, "1 month later, I will head over to the Alchemist Guild. A divine-level alchemist has died, but I hope that you can take some time to come to the Alchemist Guild and have a chat with our master." The three old men of the Alchemist Guild seemed to be very respectful to Long Chun. The people at the side were completely dumbfounded. With just a few words, the two of them had actually forgotten about the death of a god-level alchemist. The soul-devouring wolf beast and the other two ancient clans' upper echelons furrowed their brows and muttered to themselves, "Isn't Long Chun from the north of the North region? Why is the Alchemist Guild so polite to him?" The upper echelons of the two ancient clans were extremely puzzled. Whether it was the Taotai fighting soul or the Yazi fighting soul, they were both extremely respectful to Long Chun. On the other hand, the human kings that Long Chun had brought from the North region had a fanatical trust in him that was somewhat inconceivable. Now, even the Dark Star organization and the Alchemist Guild were related to him. Seeing Long Chun nod his head in agreement, the three old men let out a long sigh of relief, and with a wave of their hands, they each took out a pill box and said, "These 3 pills were ordered by our master to bring to you. Our master once said that whenever your excellency comes to our Alchemist Guild, your excellency will be treated as a divine-grade alchemist." Following the actions of the Alchemist Guild, the 4 two-star ancient clans sent by the Bright Moon ancient clan were already drenched in cold sweat as they slowly retreated. Originally, they thought that Long Chun was just boasting, but they never thought that the Alchemist Guild would actually not care about the life and death of a god-ranked alchemist. Instead, they treated Long Chun with courtesy. The only Daozi of the Dark Star organization was also a brother of Long Chun. Today, not to mention teaching Long Chun a lesson, they might even lose their lives here. When the Taotai fighting soul saw how the 4 ancient tribes were behaving, he couldn't help but burst out laughing. "Why are you guys leaving just like that? Don't you guys want to come over and have a seat?" Swish, swish. The Taotai fighting soul licked its stomach. Its thick lips made its voice sound extremely rough and long. The faces of the 4 ancient clans turned green when they heard this. Not only did they not slow down, but they also increased their speed. Within a dozen breaths, they had disappeared behind the mountain range. Seeing this, the Jiuing ancient people heaved a sigh of relief. The corners of Long Chen's mouth curled up into a smile. He didn't want to be entangled with the 4 ancient clans. After receiving the 3 elixir boxes, he asked the 3 elders of the Alchemist Guild, "Is Louis doing well?" The 3 old men nodded and replied, "Many thanks to your excellency for nurturing Louis. The alchemy techniques in her hands have caused the entire Alchemist Guild to undergo earth-shattering changes, which is why we have come here today. We hope that Your Excellency will not be stingy with your guidance in the future. If you need anything, the Alchemist Guild will also do our best to help you. Long Chen nodded slightly. In fact, he had already guessed that Lu Yi's visit to the Alchemist Guild would cause an uproar. The alchemy skills that he had taught Lu Yi were completely different from the current alchemy skills. However, he didn't expect the Alchemist Guild to be so polite to him. It should be known that the Alchemist Guild didn't participate in the fights between the various forces in the Waste Domain. Such a promise was already considered very good. Thinking about this, Long Chen's heart skipped a beat. He immediately asked, I do have something to trouble you all. If this matter is successful, I'll personally teach Lu Yi the alchemy skills. Are you serious? The few Alchemist Guild members' faces flushed red as they cried out involuntarily. At this moment, whether it was the Joyan ancient people or the soul-devouring wolf beasts, the two ancient clans were in disbelief. They felt as if they were dreaming. The Alchemist Guild was the holy land of alchemists in the ancient desolate land. There were many god-level alchemists. However, now they seemed to be very eager to learn the alchemy skills in Long Chen's hands. Originally, the two-star ancient clans didn't take Long Chen seriously. However, their views had changed. At least now, Long Chen was more mysterious in their eyes. He was able to make the leaders of the two clans willingly submit to him. He also had a deep relationship with the Dark Star organization and the Alchemist Guild. If they hadn't seen with their own eyes that Long Chen was from the north of the North region, they would have thought that he was a heaven-defying Tao disciple from a one-star ancient clan. However, Long Chen's next words immediately made the two clans think that he was extremely arrogant. Long Chen said to the few Alchemist Guild members, apart from the 5 sacred lands, if I remember correctly, the various clans have jointly built a passage to the Forbidden Lands that connects to the various ancient clans' Forbidden Lands. Apart from the top 100 Tao disciples of the various clans in the Waste Domain, only the Alchemist Guild, the Dark Star organization, and the 4 ancient clans could freely enter the passage to the Forbidden Lands. It was a place that was specially built for the Tao disciples of the various clans in the Waste Domain. When he said this, not only did the two-star ancient clans behind him laugh coldly, but even the 3 divine beast fighting souls' expressions changed. The few people from the Alchemist Guild headquarters also frowned suddenly. For a moment, they actually fell silent, as if they were thinking about something. After a long while, the oldest person said to Long Chen in a deep voice, Since you know about the Forbidden Lands, you should understand the dangers involved. Now that you have become enemies with Han Luo, the Tao disciple of the Bright Moon Ancient Clan, I'm afraid that it will only make things worse. The Forbidden Lands can connect to the various clans' Forbidden Lands. If the various ancient clans were to enter, it might be much easier. However, if an outsider like you enters, even if there is no Bright Moon Ancient Clan, you will still be targeted. If you need to improve your cultivation, our Alchemist Guild has countless elixirs. We can get them for you directly. Why do you need to take such a risk? The 3 of them clearly did not want Long Chen to go to the so-called Forbidden Lands. However, their words made everyone realize how important Long Chen was to the Alchemist Guild. Long Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. He said, What I need is not only elixirs, but also things to refine the rules of order and the energy to refine the origin. When the 3 of them heard this, they suddenly frowned deeply and said in a deep voice, You're only an early-stage human king now. Isn't it a little too early for you to seek the origin of the rules of order? I wonder if you have comprehended the rules of order and have reached perfection. Although the few of them treated Long Chen with respect, they still looked down on him now. Refining the rules of order and refining the origin was something that only a late human king could do. Chapter 381. Deployment. As the brilliance circulated, rule force rose and fell one after another. Above Long Chen's 5 fingertips, there was a heart-palpitating fluctuation. The light flashed and disappeared, and the people behind Long Chun did not even see it clearly. But the few Alchemist Guild elders' expressions changed drastically, and they all stared at Long Chun. After a long while, they took a deep breath and said, "Your Excellency's talent is something we've never seen before in our lives. If you insist on entering the Forbidden Passage, we won't stop you. This is the token of the forbidden grounds of our Alchemist Guild. With this item, you will naturally be able to enter. However, please be extra careful of the dangers within." The few people from the Alchemist Guild looked at each other and took out a black token. On the token, there was a golden outline of an alchemy cauldron. Long Chun cupped his fists in thanks and received the item, saying, "When I come out from the Forbidden Area, I will definitely head to the Alchemist Guild headquarters. Please rest assured." As Long Chen's words fell, the several Alchemist Guild elders stared at him for a moment before shaking their heads with a bitter smile on their faces. Then, they turned around and led the rest of the Alchemist Guild to mount their demonic beasts and leave. The power of rules displayed by that young man just now is not any weaker than the two of us. To be able to comprehend such a powerful power of rules as a human king is truly terrifying. No wonder when we came here, the president repeatedly told us to treat this person with utmost respect. If this person doesn't die, the entire desolate region will be shaken because of him. Although that is the case, he is currently only a sovereign personage. The Tao children in the Forbidden Area's passageway are all gathered there. When those from the Alchemist Guild left, they couldn't help but sigh. On the other side, Long Chun could not help but feel slightly excited when he received the order to enter the Forbidden Area. Originally, he still needed a lot of preparation to step into the Renhuang Plain within a month. But now it was much easier. If this passageway was used properly, it would be of great benefit to the 3,000 great Daos in his body. Renhuang powerhouses had perfected the power of rules, and all the rules they had comprehended were close to the origin. With Long Chen's current level of cultivation, he was still unable to contend with the Renhuang. This was the most fundamental reason. With the help of the 3,000 great paths, his battle prowess was unparalleled. He was even comparable to the heaven-defying great path children of various races. However, as long as he had not refined these 3,000 great paths to the origin, he would have to use countless trump cards if he wanted to defeat a Renhuang. Seeing that Long Chun was staring at the token, the three fighting souls walked up to him. Kirin's daughter spoke first. "Master, if you really want to enter the Forbidden Passage, please take us with you." Ao Sangxiong also said, "If you want to enter the Forbidden Passage, I'll go with you." Ao Sangxiong was the young master of Dark Star. If he wanted to enter the Forbidden Area, no one would dare to stop him. However, Long Chun also knew that if he asked Ao Sangxiong to go back and ask his father for the Forbidden Area command, it would be difficult for him to do so. Therefore, Long Chun obtained this token from the Alchemist Guild. Moreover, this was the Forbidden Area command issued by the Alchemist Guild. Presumably, the major ancient clans would not make things difficult for him outside the Forbidden Area. Long Chen's gaze immediately turned to Jianshi-san. His current level of cultivation was comparable to a 2-star Great Path child of an ancient clan. However, if he wanted to advance further, it would be extremely difficult. After all, their starting point was too low. They could not be compared to the major ancient clans in the Waste Realm. However, Long Chen's heart was still worried because of the appearance of the people from the Tianyuan realm. "You will also follow me to the Forbidden Passage," Long Chun said in a low voice after pondering for a while. Jianshi-san and Yi Hailon were stunned. However, they trusted Long Chun very much, so they agreed immediately. "The three of you don't have to follow me. The Joian ancient people are guarding Qing Xian. I'm afraid it will take at least a month for her to integrate this opportunity," Long Chun said to the Kirin lady. The Yazi fighting soul immediately said in a low voice, "No, the Forbidden Passage is connected to the inner regions of the major ancient clans. We must follow you." Unfortunately, Long Chun still shook his head and said, "Don't worry, I will definitely be able to retreat safely." The few of you will stay here and do something more important." Seeing Long Chen's determination, the three of them did not dare to continue. They could only shake their heads and ask, "What orders do you have, master?" "The three of us will definitely do our best." When Long Chen saw the three of them being respectful, a mischievous smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He said, "In a month, I want to see the three of you reach the peak of your fighting soul power. Moreover, I want to see 40% of the people I brought here reach the peak of the Human King realm. When I return, I might be able to help all of them reach the Human Sovereign realm in a short time." Cough, cough, cough. As soon as Long Chen finished speaking, the soul-devouring wolf beast and the senior members of the two major ancient clans could not stop coughing. They were so shocked by Long Chen's words that they almost choked on their saliva. They thought to themselves that Long Chen was only a human king, but he was talking about human sovereign realm experts, as if they were cabbages. It should be known that 4 human sovereign realm experts could establish a 3-star ancient clan. Even a 2-star ancient clan would only have a few dozen human sovereign realm experts. Long Chen actually said that he wanted to help 30% of the people he brought from the northern region reach the human sovereign realm. This was simply nonsense. When the Taotai fighting soul and the Yazi fighting soul saw this scene, their auras fluctuated continuously. The two of them were divine beast fighting souls and also the leaders of the two clans. But now, the people of the two clans were going against Long Chen in every way, making them lose face in front of Long Chen. A smile flashed across Long Chen's face. He seemed to be in a good mood today. He walked in front of them and said, "1 month from now is also the time I promised to meet you. If I have not reached the human sovereign realm by then, I will let them follow you back to the clan. The two of us swear to follow you until death. If we betray you, we will forever be in the cycle of reincarnation." As soon as Long Chen finished speaking, the 3 divine beast fighting souls knelt on the ground with a thud. When the Taotai fighting soul and the Yazi fighting soul knelt down, the people of the 2 major ancient clans quickly knelt down as well. Only God knew how bitter their hearts were. They could not figure out why the 2 of them were so loyal to Long Chen and why they had to serve such a young man as their master. Long Chen waved his hand and motioned for the 3 of them to stand up. Then he continued to say to their clansmen, "If I want them to reach the human sovereign realm, you will go outside the How You Ancient clan and curse them for 3 days and 3 nights. What do you think?" The people of the 2 clans immediately agreed. The leader replied, "If you can't do it, you will be in charge of the matters at the entrance of the How You Ancient clan. I think even if you don't die in the Forbidden Passage, you will die outside the How You Ancient clan." "Huh." Long Chen nodded and agreed. He turned around and walked toward the Juin ancient people. The crowd followed him to the huge square of the Juin ancient people. Summon all of them who have comprehended the rules of the 5 elements. No matter how strong or weak the rules are here. As soon as he finished speaking, supreme spiritual stones flew out from Long Chen's hand and a huge magic formation appeared. Chapter 382. B marked. Long Chen waved his hand and a beam of green light shot out and landed on the first mountain on the side. Green light flickered. Many human kings and human sovereigns felt the power of rules around them tremble uncontrollably. Buzz. The leaves rustled in the wind. The mountain range, which was originally filled with rugged rocks, short trees, and weeds, was suddenly overflowing with greenery. Huge trees rose from the ground. An aura full of vitality assaulted his senses. At this moment, Jian Shursen happened to arrive with a Renwang expert. Many of them were from the northern region. What a rich wood elemental law, and flower elemental law. Many human kings were surprised, but their faces were soon filled with excitement. Buzz. At the same time, Long Chen's fingertips moved again. Beams of spiritual light flew out. The 2-star ancient race human sovereigns stared at Long Chen in shock. They were so shocked that they could not speak. In the blink of an eye, the people on the mountain peaks around the plaza were all shocked. A mountain peak flickered with golden light, sometimes as sharp as a sword, sometimes as blunt as an iron, or on top of a mountain peak, flames curled up, sometimes surging and sometimes creeping. On top of mountain peak, huge waves surged into the sky. Sometimes they would turn into a small stream, sometimes into a river, and sometimes into rain. Swoosh, swoosh. Finally, the various sovereign personages could not help rushing out. It was as if they had entered a blessed land. Several Renhuangs couldn't hold back their curiosity and casually entered a mountain peak. Jian Shursen could not help but say to Long Chun, "Master skill is amazing. These 5 mountains will change into a type of rule every 20 breaths, and all of them belong to the 5 elements." More and more human kings entered the mountain according to the laws they comprehended. Long Chun looked at everyone and said, "In the end, I did not refine the origin energy. These things seem real, but they're just illusions of law energy and are not real. Even if you comprehend them, you will only reach the level of a late-stage sovereign personage at best." Several 2-star Renhuangs of the ancient clan looked at Long Chun with more solemnity and doubt in their eyes. It was not that this method did not exist among the ancient clans. In fact, all the ancient clans used this method. However, under normal circumstances, only those in the Renhuang realm could manipulate the power of rules as they wished. This kind of method was, in fact, copying the gourd and drawing dipper. He used the most direct method to show the same type of law to another disciple who comprehended the same type of law. However, this method could only reach the late-stage sovereign stage at most. In other words, one had to completely comprehend at least one type of rule power. If one wanted to step into the Renhuang plane, there was no shortcut. One had to pursue the origin of the rule power. This was also the reason why there were so few Renhuangs among the various ancient clans, even though there were countless late-stage Renhuangs. The other 2 ancient clans were shocked, but Long Chin's side glance was not because of this technique. Instead, it was the power of rules that he used as a human sovereign to control this technique. The 5 peaks belonged to the 5 elements. They changed in an instant, but the power of rules came from different branches. This meant that Long Chun had comprehended countless elemental laws. No wonder you can easily kill a 3-star ancient race's Dao child as an early-stage sovereign personage. You can even fight against a late-stage sovereign personage of the various races. You've actually comprehended so many laws of the 5 elements. How'd you do it? The leader of the soul-devouring wolves could not help but ask. Long Chun smiled, but did not say anything. The 3,000 great paths belonged to the 5 elements. This had a lot to do with the dragon soul in his dantian. However, although the journey of the dragon soul was complete, it was only 3 inches. According to Long Chin's speculation, once he reached 9 inches, he could step into the Renhuang plane and condense the body of a Renhuang. Step into the Renhuang plane. Thinking of this, Long Chun was somewhat expectant. In his previous life, he had comprehended many rules when he was a human sovereign. In the end, he had relied on the body of the great emperor to condense the golden emperor body. In this life, he had comprehended the rules of the 5 elements with the firmament bloodline and the body of the great emperor. What kind of Renhuang body would he condense? Long Chun had no intention of explaining. He turned around and prepared to leave for the forbidden passage. Before he left, Jian Shursen and Ao Sanxiong went with him. Unfortunately, not long after he left, a beautiful figure appeared. This person was Yi Hailan. Seeing that Yi Hailan had followed him, Long Chun did not say much. The 4 of them set off for the center of the Waste Realm. On the other side, apart from the Juyin ancient people, the 4 2-star ancient clans had been scared off by the appearance of the Alchemist Guild and the Dark Star organization. They had not left too far. They had received the news that Long Chun and the others had left the Juyin ancient people as soon as possible. The leader of the Snow Beast ancient clan, an old human emperor, said, "What should we do? If we go back like this, I'm afraid we will be punished. The Bright Moon ancient clan is very strict with their subordinate clans. We have been ordered to come here. Even if we fail the mission, we must do something." The old man of the Ying Falcon clan narrowed his slender eyes. His gaze was as sharp as a blade. What can we do? Now that they have left together, Ao Sangxiong is still inside. That day, he only snorted coldly, and the people of the Dark Star organization appeared instantly. This person must not be offended. I have a plan. Isn't there a man and a woman with them? After a discussion, the four clans finally followed Long Chun and the others according to the information they had received. They knew that they could not afford to offend Ao Sangxiong. As for Long Chun, they also had a lot of fear in their hearts. After all, he had a good relationship with the Alchemist Guild and Ao Sangxiong. Therefore, their target was not Long Chun and Ao Sangxiong, but Yi Hailon and Jin Shursan. Firstly, the two of them were only human kings. Moreover, the power of the rules they had comprehended was extremely limited. Secondly, killing them would not anger the Dark Star organization and the Alchemist Guild, and they could also return to the Bright Moon Ancient Clan to report to them. Several human emperors of the four ancient clans flew into the sky with the bloodline of the Falcon Clan. In just a few hours, they found the whereabouts of Long Chun and the others. Among the people from the four ancient clans, 2 Ren Huangs were dispatched. In addition, they brought along 2 Ren Huangs from the Falcon Clan who were at the Human King level. They only needed to find the right opportunity to kill the 2 Human Kings in one fell swoop. The 2 of them still had some confidence. Moreover, if there were more people and Ao Sangxiong insisted on arguing with them, things would become troublesome. Your Falcon Clan is recognized as the Scout Clan among the 2-star ancient clans. Don't let them discover us. Stay away. The enormous Falcon bloodline true form soared into the sky in a smooth arc looking down from tens of thousands of meters high. They could clearly see Long Chun and the others. This was the specialty of the Falcon Clan. These people's bodily movement techniques are really good. They seem to be saint-level bodily movement techniques. No wonder they don't even ride on flying demonic beasts. You still have time to talk nonsense at this time. According to the direction they're heading, they should pass by the Stormy Canyon in another 10 hours. That will be our chance to attack. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.